I know my destiny.
We're having this entire full-blown conversation about Godlike and True Rippers. So welcome, YouTube audience, once again, Valorant Challenger South Asia, driven by Hyundai with our styling partner Philips One Blade. As we are going to move it forward to the walk-ins, we've got Kaizen and Side Dreams on the first, and then you've got Techno and Vubo on the second stance.
Yeah, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Sai will be playing in this game. The reason for it was also explained. It's partially because Haven is one of those maps where Sai will always be in the team. The big difference between him and Ember is that one is more aggressive and one is more passive. But here come the two people that you need to keep your eyes on. Wimp and Autumn, these players don't get talked about that often, but when they are in the right place at the right time, they can turn the entire situation around. Wimp used to be the IGL for Revenant Esports at one point, so he knows how to take decisions, difficult decisions in those mid-round situations. Autumn, on the other hand, he's been through a lot of different teams, so he's aware of the different kind of playstyles and the kind of curveballs that other teams can throw at you.
The best part about True Rippers and their entire lineup is that every single player is just way too flexible. They can play any role. Even if a duelist, the past, for example, Disrupt used to be one of those players that has also played Initiator in the past. So every single player inside True Rippers is ready to adapt on the fly if they do want to switch up some lineup at the last moment. But I'm pretty sure it's not going to be last moment. They have practiced over and over again. But finally, we're going to be jumping inside the map Fido, as True Rippers is going to go for the first ban, and then Godlike will be going for the second. And True Rippers instantly go for that Fracture ban. I mean, Fracture's one of those maps, it's not being a fan favorite inside South Asia, so it makes a lot of sense. Split being banned, I'm quite happy.
Huh. I mean, it's almost like we've all come to hate Split, isn't it? I personally don't like Split, especially because of what happened today. If you guys happen to catch the game between Global Esports and DRX, you would know exactly what I'm talking about. That was just a couple of hours ago. Then, let's move on to the map. Vito, Haven, and Pearl picked up by either side. That was a great guess by you, Negro, by the way, figuring out that Haven's going to be a part of the map simply by figuring out that Sai is playing. I love how you reverse engineered that whole breakdown.
I mean, look, and this is the similar type of map pool that has been picked now when Godlike faced against Velocity, so this is huge. I mean, Haven and Pearl in action. So one thing is for sure, inside Pearl, Sai is going to be switched up once again with Ember, considering Pearl is a map where you need someone to anchor down a site. So once again, we'll be seeing that switch up from the side of Godlike. Now, these type of switch ups really do add on a huge surprise factor or surprise element, whatever you guys want to call it, inside the game, considering you're going to be switching up your 5-man over and over again. The opponents don't exactly know what to expect and how to expect it unless you have done some immaculate amount of research.
Oh yeah, speaking of research, I wonder how True Ripper's gonna fare today, because God's Reign, even though their opponents researched them, they could not find a counter to it. There were several instances in the previous map that God's Reign played when they were facing Militant Esports. You could see that Militant knew what God's Reign is about to do. They were stacking the sites appropriately and the rotations were almost on point. But despite having all that information, Militant Esports lost in quite an astounding way. So that is a big red flag. Even though True Rippers might know about what God's Reign is up to, they might not necessarily be able to counter it. So I really want to see how this thing boils down.
Interesting. So we're seeing a huge change from True Rippers inside their agent select. And usually on the map of Haven, if I'm not wrong, True Rippers likes to play Sky instead of Soa, but this time we're seeing that Soa being pulled out, so it's quite an interesting change. Of course, usually it's Kaizen who plays the role of Sky, but this time Techno is going to be the one to play Sova, and then Kaizen's going to be the one to play Duelist. So this is a huge switch up from True Rippers, and we were thinking about all those experimental plays, and it seems like they are going to bring it to the table once again. So I guess our speculations are right.
Yeah. And I love these changes. Kaizen has always been the kind of guy who plays with the flashing related initiators. So there were instances where he was playing KO, there were instances where he was playing Sky, and while both of them are good enough, Sova is completely different because he scans the area and gives you precise information, unlike the Sky and the KO. So with him, not picking up that agent and Sova being added into the mix, I believe it's only added to make Techno feel a little more comfortable. In the last few performances that True Rippers had, Techno did not perform as well as he could have. We know he's a good player, but we know he has even more potential. So I guess they're making this change to make him a little more comfortable. Plus, Kaizen has always been the super aggressive kind of guy. So for him to play initiator and making those plays, setting his team up for success is great. But it would be even better if he goes in head first, if he is the tip of the spear for his team.
Exactly, and it's funny how I literally had this full-blown conversation about saying that every single player from True Rippers is just really fluid. They're flexible. They will be down to switch up roles if they want to at the last moment, and that's exactly what they've done. I mean, we haven't seen Kaizen so far on that duelist role, but once again, we know Kaizen pulled off some nutty plays in the past as well, so we know what Kaizen's capable of. He has the mechanical skill, of course, to pull off this entire duelist role, and now we're just waiting for Kaizen to pull something off incredible. Once again, as he peeks out mid, gets some nice information for himself. It wasn't Kaizen, of course, but once again, as Kaizen and his teammates are going to make it inside the site, the spike plant will go down. So that's a good news for them.
Yeah, and the entirety of True Rippers has fallen back out of the B side except for Kaizen. He's going to stay over here and act like the catalyst. Maybe he can get a couple of kills or two. Meanwhile, True Rippers are also trying to retake the Dodge. Look at Sai. He's about to get pinched. And he takes the head off Techno. So that flank from Techno has failed. Disrupt tries to go for the exact same flank once again. But is somebody watching him this time? They're all watching in the other direction, and the defuse has already come through. So this flank from Disrupt, it's quite late.
Interesting. They already got the defuse done. That's really interesting. But once again, executing the B side on the pistol round, I'm not a huge fan of that personally, because as we all know, retaking the B side cannot be a huge challenge. And considering pistol round, you don't really have a lot of utilities available. It's tough to sustain that B side. I understand the entire meta or whatever they were trying to pull off. Pretty much go for the spike plant, fall back once again, and play on the post plant. But it gets a little too tough when you don't really have a lot of utilities to back you up with that play.
Yeah, so in a buy round, that play might actually work out when you have all the utility to deny the defuse, the aftershock, the nanoswarms, and shock darts and everything. But in the pistol, you can't afford all of that. So yeah, that's a good point you made there, Necro. True Rippers this time, they're not going for anything fast. They tried to make their entry into it, they shot, but they were met with their fate.
Once again, I mean, that entire post plant will only work out, or majority of the times will only work out when you've got automatic guns in your hand, so you can just spam the smoke, right? But the pistol's a little tough, of course, considering you are just on a huge amount of deficit no matter what. And True Rippers this time moving it forward on the A site. They've got the players stacked up, of course, ready with the utilities, but Autumn is ready as well with his Marshall. And all he needs to do is just connect one shot on the chest or on the abdomen to seal the deal. Two more players in the front, Disrupt and Techno. Of course, stuck in a huge pickle.
Yeah, and there's no armor on either of them, so Autumn's gonna have an easy farming day. Picks up multiple kills, getting closer to Big Storm. And that's about it. It was just another an anti-eco for God's Reign, another day in the office. No biggie. Now, this is where things start to get interesting. True Rippers have the weaponry. They can try going for those rapid plants again, just like they did in the pistol round. But the question is, will they pick up the pace once again, or will they drop it? They know that the bonus round is on board for God's Reign, and with them having inferior weaponry, God's Reign might try to go for a gamble stack or something, so True Rippers might just have to be extra careful.
Here.
I mean, this is why, right? We do see a lot of those teams, especially in BCTM, when it's an eco round, they tend to just die in this spike explosion. Because they don't want to give the ultimate orbs away that easily. Especially, of course, you do get extra credits as well, but the more important thing is that in the eco rounds, usually your opponent tries to farm those ultimate orbs. They will usually send that one man on the crowd, alright, it's okay, you can go and try to spam and pretty much just get as many kills as possible. That'll help you get your ultimate as quick as possible on the board. To deny that, that is one of those ways where you can just try to kill yourself and deny all those ultimate orbs.
take flight.
Good shot by Wimp. That's Autumn out of the picture. At the same time, they're trying to break the nanoswarms outside of B. But Vibor has spotted most of them moving towards the C side, so this should give God's Reign enough information. The only person who can throw in a curveball is going to be Wimp, because he's trying to lurk on A and hoping to sell this fake. But actually, no, wait. He's not hoping to sell a fake. He's just looking to lurk around and come in later on. He's not making any noise. So he's probably going to come in for a
30 seconds
backstab.
left.
Meanwhile, the rest of True Rippers are already tearing through the C side, so they should be able to plant.
Yeah, it's a fake
But-
though.
Yeah. C was the fake, not A. Huh.
Yeah. C side was the fake, and now Kazan's the only man left over on the C side.
Last
God's Reign,
player
they've got a
standing.
little call out given to themselves, but it
Spike
seems like True
planted.
Rippers, they're really ready for this matchup. They've definitely done a lot of research on how God's Reign play and their entire playing pattern. They literally countered them. This was the bonus round for God's Reign, so that means bonus now being cancelled, and considering True Rippers didn't even drop a single body, this is going to be huge for them. Tix, the last man left alive, of course. The players of True Rippers do want to hunt him down, but Kazan's so unaware of the fact that Tix is going to be moving in way too late. Stun comes out as well, but Tix being stunned out, nothing much can be done. Next to impossible to survive, and True Rippers will get another round on the board. As we've got, of course, True Rippers, finally they make a comeback on the scoreline. One more round done. God's Reign, their entire bonus being canceled out. That means now they're finally going to go for a bye. We're seeing that operator being pulled out from Autumn. Really close to getting that Blade Storm as well. All he needs is 2 more ultimate orbs, or 2 more charges to get the Blade Storm online. Reach ready with the stun. This time the concuss is going to be on the point. Operator, is that being expected? My question. Autumn misses that crucial opportunity, and that crucial shot will not find anything once again. Oh, the operator shot's really not connecting, not able to find that sweet spot for himself, but now Kazan is going to just dash in the site, making things quick and possible. God's Reign, on the other hand, they're going to give a tough fight once again, denying that site control for as long as possible. They're able to show a lot of resistance, but now we're down to a 2-on-3 scenario. Side takes in the hands of True Rippers. They will also get the spike plant down, and the spike's not planted towards Shard. So this might just be a little bit of bad news for Wimp. RU's the only one playing on the site. Wimp's holding Heaven, so at least that's a good news for RU. But now Short being smoked out. Wimp needs to force himself on a little bit more aggressive angle, and he does exactly that. One more to go, and True Rippers, they make this clutch possible. A 2-on-3 scenario. True Rippers don't even break a sweat, and this is the exact reason I told you guys that True Rippers is one of the top teams in South Asia. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people would have doubted me when I said this, but you really do need to understand the amount of caliber and the firepower this team brings in whenever you see this team on the board. And they're able to win that round so flawlessly. I mean, God's Reign, they tried their best to resist the site control. They tried their best to delay the site control for as long as possible. But in the end, True Rippers, they're quite stubborn. Just kept on pushing on the A side, got the control as well, and also made the clutch possible. As scoreline is 2-2. And as we all know, God's Reign being forced on an eco, this should not be that tough of a round for True Rippers to make it possible. And so far, this entire switch-up True Rippers have brought on the table, it's working out for them. Kazan all by himself towards the A side, and Tix is just waiting for him to make any sort of mistakes. Quite an interesting off angle Tix is holding there with the Sheriff. But if he doesn't connect his shot, he will lose out on his life. Wimp moving in forward, close, slowly and steadily. A huge change in the pace this time, but I'm pretty sure True Rippers, they're just gonna burst in. They're waiting for that right moment to strike, and as soon as they find that right moment, they will just try to burst in the site. Autumn also gets his Blade Storm online. That's a huge shot. A great opening being found on the side of God's Reign. And whatever happens, True Rippers do not want to give this entire eco round away.
30 seconds.
True Rippers would not want to make this thrifty possible for the opponents. Autumn with the Blade Storm, of course, will be a huge menace, will be a huge problem for the entire roster of True Rippers, and he finds another one! Autumn with a 3K, wants to go for the 4th as well, but unfortunately runs out of the Blade as he misses all the shots on Techno.
10 seconds left.
But this time he's not able to find that sweet spot and make it a thrifty round. Autumn, that's a huge round from them. Godsreen make a thrifty round possible with the heroics of Autumn all by himself, with the Blade Storm active as well. Those are some nutty shots being shown. 4 kills all by himself, not a problem. Just holding down the C site.
1 enemy. 10 seconds left.
Like a strong mountain in the way. And True Rippers couldn't find an answer to that. And with such a heroic play, Autumn will also get an opportunity to upgrade to an operator once again. And this operator is just going to bring a lot of problems. Kazan as well is going to opt out for the Blade Storm this time. Thankfully, the players of True Rippers do have enough economy to go for another buy, but if they lose out on this round, they will be forced on an eco once again. Godsreen 3 players stacked on the A site, and Autumn will connect his first shot this time. And now True Rippers really falling on their faces, considering now the man who was supposed to enter inside the site and make a lot of space for them has been taken down quite early off. True Rippers taking their sweet time, sweet possible amount of time. They don't exactly know what to do, but Rolling Thunder invested from Disrupt. It's a huge one too. Gonna force every single player in the back, but Aryu overextends a little bit too much, and Vabor's able to capitalize and decapitate him. Lockdown goes down as well. True Ripper, they've got the spike planned down so far. And every single player from the side of True Rippers will now decide to fall back instantly. But still, Techno's on the site for as long as possible. He will be taken down soon enough. Techno was there to resist the side control, but unfortunately wasn't able to find any sort of information or wasn't able to find any sort of value. And Side Dreams is just going to close out on the final 2 players as well. Just sweeps him up. An easy round in the hands of Godsreen. And now they're able to read into what True Rippers are trying to do here. That one single heroic play activated the entire team. And now Godsreen, they're looking like a well-gelled up line.
Last player standing.
True Rippers, on the other hand, as soon as the first man fell off, it's like their entire strategy just fell off as well. And Side Dreams, as always, he's there on the site as an initiator role, as a Sova role. He does his job, cleaning stuff up that easily.
Enemy kill.
And once again, True Rippers, even though they know that the opponents have an operator online, they still go for some risky peeks. Wimp being cut off this time. They've got 2 Vandals on the board. This might just be Vandal hero strategy that they're trying to pull off. Disrupt and Kazan are the 2 players with the Vandals in the hand, but this time it's not going to work out. Tix was there on the side. He tried his best to fight back for as long as possible, but Kazan was able to shut him down. Now it's a 2-on-3 scenario. Definitely quite convertible. If True Rippers do not make any sort of micro mistakes inside the round. On the other hand, if you talk about the opponents, they've got a lot of utility available. Even the recon darts available on Side Dream, so that's going to be quite huge. But unfortunately, he misses that recon dart. Not on the mark, no information given away. True Rippers are looking quite safe for now. And Sai, he just peeks out and straight up goes for a dry peek. He will find it first, but the second one's going to be denied as Hoax is going to put the final nail in the coffin in that previous round. Godsreen, another round on the board, and now they're starting to run away with a little bit of lead, which is of course going to give them more confidence. True Rippers, they need to start bringing a lot more variety to the game now. They're going for these little bursts where they're just utilizing some simple tactics. But I like that fake that they initially did, where they sent Kazan all by himself on a prowl on C site, where he was able to find a lot of value, and the rest of the players just rotated at the last second on the A site, sort of fiddling with the opponent's mind. And now True Rippers on the timeout, on a tactical timeout. Interesting. I want to see what sort of changes we're going to be seeing inside the defaults now, considering the coach is definitely giving them a lot of information, and he's got a lot to say over here. Definitely the coach might just have some insights on how to counter Godsreen, and Godsreen are able to do so over and over again. They're able to successfully defend for the last 3 rounds, so there has to be some sort of pattern that is recognizable. And the coach is definitely having a lot of talks. But if you personally ask me, the amount of utilities that is being pushed out from the side of Godsreen, it's incredible. And I think so they need to start baiting out those utilities first while faking in one site. And then later on, just maybe recommitting to that site once again, or completely just redirecting to another site.
Turret out.
But one thing is for sure, they need to bait out the utilities as quick as possible. If the utilities aren't being baited out, then the problem will keep on continuing. Because as you can see on the A side, they've got Omen, Breach, and Jet pushing along. It's like utility powerhouse. The Breach is going to stun you, flash you. The Omen's going to paranoia, smoke, try and deny your visual for as long as possible. Things are definitely going to be tough if you want to make a quick entry or a quick burst, because you will need to expect some retaliation back. Wimp will plant the lockdown inside Garage, and he's also fallen back. It's quite interesting. Side Dreams was available right in Garage as well, and he's actually going to respect that lockdown and fall back. It's really interesting. If Side Dreams wanted, he could have shut down the entire lockdown, but that's not going to be the case. And now every single player from True Rippers is falling back to the A site. The call's given away as well. And you can see an instant rotation on the A side once again. Autumn's able to find the first one. Pulls out the shorty instantly, and RU walks into shorty. Will be shut down. Of course, in the close range, the shorty's going to reign supreme. And how was this man able to stay alive for so long with only 30 HP to back him up?
30 seconds left.
An operator in the hands. He's playing really aggressive, trying to hold some off angles. And Side Dreams from the back as well is able to wrap up, but disrupted with two of his own, trying to keep his team's lifeline alive for as long as possible. Side Dreams in the close will be shut down once again. Autumn missing out on those crucial shots, but this time his operator will be shut down. Disrupt with a 4K. Oh, he's looking to ace it and maybe clutch as well, but unfortunately time's gonna run out of his hands. Not a lot of time left over, and Vapor is going to abuse that. Disrupt, definitely a nice try, but wasn't able to capitalize on that. With a huge 4K, at least is able to instill some fear and terror in the opponent's hearts. An heroic play, of course, but this play right here from Autumn as well, you cannot underestimate that. Connects the first shot, instantly pulls out the shorty, throws in the cloud burst, waits for the man to walk in his crosshair, and shuts him down. But once again, Autumn, if he did not miss that shot right there, wouldn't have got this close. Autumn's definitely struggling to connect his operator shots. But I'm pretty sure it might just be because it's just the first map. It's been a couple of rounds. He needs to get his hands warmed up. And True Rippers, once again, they get a buy in their hands, considering the opponents have been winning over and over again consistently now. So they will be getting a little bit of bonus cash back in their hands. Kaizen jump spots. And the operator misses again. Autumn just not able to find those shots. Not able to find those connections. Rolling Thunder being utilized as well. And now Tix will be forced out of his corner. But True Rippers, they reroute once again on the B side. Quite an interesting situation these guys are showing. On the B side, they are Hoax will find a kill with the aftershock, and it's going to be in the name of Wimp. Unfortunately for True Rippers, the post plant is going to be a little tougher considering Wimp is not going to be on the board. They will need to worry about all sort of angles, even the back lines, but Techno's probably going to hear Side Dreams in the window. I like the position where Techno is, just positioning himself inside the pocket. It's a 4-on-5, definitely doable, but Godsreen, they do have the man advantage. From the pocket, peeks out, Techno finds one, still needs to take out the other man as well, and Side Dreams unfortunately gets surprised by the pop-in swing. And Techno, this man is just able to stack him up on top of each other, and K's gonna take down the last man. Easily mopped up the entire squad of Godsreen. That pop and swing from Techno onto Sai definitely sort of surprised him. And Sai just wasn't able to track him in time. But Techno definitely pulling out some nice shenanigans. I mean, so is the entire team right here of True Rippers. I just love the fact that they have these amount of guts, that they're experimenting inside such type of a playing field. When we know that They're facing against Godfrey, one of the most strongest powerhouses inside South Asia. You cannot afford to make any sort of new changes to your lineup or your agent select. But these guys bring a complete new change. Also catching probably the players of Godfrey off guard, because all the sort of research they've done, throw it out the window, out the gate. Because now, once again, True Rippers they're going to do the similar strategy that they did in the previous time as well, and they're going to lose out on Argue this time. Hunter's Fury being utilized, but look at Disrupt. He's pushed up quite deep. He's got no utilities to back him up, and he will be taken down. The dry peek's not working out anymore, but Wimp is trying his best to fight back. He's trying his best to stop the spike defuse, but he will be denied and taken away.
This B-side has been such a problem for True Rippers, hasn't it? They always manage to get that plant down, but then God's Reign have such innovative ways of retaking the side, and they learn from their mistakes so quickly. It's almost like it's impossible to stop God's Reign from coming in and pouring in from all the sides too. True Rippers will do everything in their power to either push into C-Link or A-Link and just make sure that they don't have to defend all three entrances at the same time, but it never really pans out.
They pretty much try to replicate what they did in the previous round. But I mean, once again, once the pattern is read, God's Reign will of course quickly adapt and shut you down. So you cannot keep on repeating the similar strategies over and over again. Maybe you need to bring some variety in and try to pull it off in some other rounds, but you cannot do it back to back. True Rippers got easily countered this time. The operator shot's gonna miss once again because the flash was there. And Disrupt will find the kill on the Autumn. That's a big man shutdown. Autumn's operator isn't really working that well inside this tournament. He hasn't been able to connect a lot of those shots, which are proven out to be quite crucial in the future lines. But look at this. Once again, True Rippers is going to try to do that exact same thing. And this is what I mentioned too, Crips, is that whenever True Rippers try to burst on in one single site, the problem is that they're facing against a lot of utilities right under their faces, which they're not able to capitalize on and not able to get the site control with. So they need to fake one side first to force out all the utilities, and then maybe try to make it and then maybe try to switch on over to another site.
Give me those back.
Oh, guys, and switching up the pace over here. Good flank, gets the kill onto Tix, but the rest of them are coming up. Once again, True Rippers are
Give me those back.
One enemy remaining.
But Kaizen and Aryu turn up the kill feed.
A huge round from them. Kaizen just able to lurk around all the way from the A side. Also got a lot of sound cues, so was able to successfully execute that entire flank, or the entire lurk as you'd like to call it. Once again, with those nutty shots, these guys are really able to put up a lot of numbers on the board. Especially we saw that amazing 4K and a thrifty round from God's Reign where Autumn just popped off with his Blade Storm. But once again, Autumn needs to find his groove with the operator.
Luckily for him, Vipul doesn't have the last round. Shadows all the way, but not the kill. There's quite a lot of counter utility that God's Reign are throwing at True Rippers. Godlike also arrives, but he isn't enough to stop this.
True Rippers, with the amount of information they're able to just gather, and they're able to really fiddle out well with God's Reign's mind. They kept on committing to the B side back-to-back in 3 rounds, and now they'll switch on over on the C side out of nowhere. God's Reign are really being caught off guard. And True Ripper, one thing's for sure, this team has done a lot of research on God's Reign. And if they're able to make this close against a team like God's Reign, that is one of the best teams in South Asia, definitely things are looking quite interesting. Disrupt with a 2K to mop things up.
Good way to finish this half. I've thought for a second that True Rippers will not be able to get as much as they should have, and God's Reign would run away with the lead unprecedented. But True Rippers did show quite a lot of competition, even though they were stubborn on going B again and again. That stubbornness did teach them quite a lot about how their opponents respond and what their defensive defaults look like, especially about their rotation paths via via A-Link and C-Link. So they used that information in the last round, and they realized that if they rush these straight up, the garage push won't be enough to stop them in their tracks.
Exactly. I mean, This B-side take, of course, has been there from the side of True Rippers over and over again, and sometimes they have been able to pull it off successfully, sometimes they aren't. I mean, the odds are equal, right? If Godlike are able to read it properly, if they know that the playing pattern is pretty much similar, they will try to do that. But if they're adding some sort of a fake before executing the B-side, then Godlike isn't able to capitalize on that perfectly fine. But ladies and gentlemen, that was it for the first half. The scoreline is 7-5, but we'll be right back with the second half after the short break.
Came for my wings, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the beach, I get it in.
The all-new i20, born magnetic.
Came for my wings, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the beach, I get it in.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, into the second half of the first game, of course, and we will be moving in forward inside the game soon enough. And as I say that, we will be moving in. Autumn! We saw this man already taking a lot of damage, chipping away with the nanoswarms. Of course, he's taken down to 17 HP. Beside Dreams and Autumn, they're softening up. True Rippers, they're on a flank, they're on a prowl from the back lines. Vapor will be shut down. That's a great opening found from Kazan. And all the players from True Rippers, it seems like they are going to be on the flank lines. Definitely surprising the entire squad of God's
Player
Reign.
standing.
Good adjustment for God's Reign too. Lovely 4K by Autumn to start things off, and this thing gives his team the lead. Now, what's also pretty impressive is that they pushed in towards the defender's spawn. They knew for a fact that True Rippers are coming in for a flank, and if they stay on the side, then they're going to get crunched from both the defender's spawn entrance as well as long and short. So they might as well push one of these areas, clear it out to make one threat, and then they can double up behind the default box.
I mean, Autumn's just able to find these 3Ks, these 4Ks. It's insane. Saving the day for his team a lot of those times. And as I mentioned, even we saw Thrifty being pulled out because of Autumn. And he also had a 4K in that Thrifty too, so Autumn's definitely stepping things huge. But his operator today isn't able to find that sweet spot. So maybe he'll need to try and stick to the ARs if possible. Vandal or the Phantom, whichever he likes to use. Before now, God's Reign, as they won the previous round, of course, now they will have the superior weaponry. Spectres and Bulldogs on the board, but Autumn all by himself will have a Vandal to himself. True Rippers, 2 players on the A side, still waiting for that burst. But God's Reign, they're taking things quite cautious and slow. They're going to take their sweet time to execute the site. Still just waiting for the info, still just waiting for any sort of overextension. Kaysen's going to spot out the first map, and we should see a quick rotation on the A side soon enough. And it was Side Dreams who found the opening.
They're both coming in from B. This is the man who's supposed to keep every man
Spike
in
planted.
check. Anyone who's trying to retake will have to face his wrap. It doesn't stop him eventually, but he's recovered the weapon, but Ristaps is already on very low HP, so this round seems like it's going to go to God's Reign regardless.
Indeed, well, I mean, they have got the superior weaponry, of course. I mean, it's a 4-on-2. Next to impossible to pull it off, I guess. The Wimp, oh, that's a nice opening. Nice shot, Side Dreams. Overextending a little bit in that scenario, but it's okay. The rest of the players have got his back, and I'm pretty sure Disrupt will not want to give himself away just like that. We'll try to at least deny one ultimate orb before he gets taken down, and yes, that's what he's going to do. Just dive with the spike explosion. He knows that's it for him, and that's what exactly will happen. True Rippers, not, of course, a good eco round from their side, but a decent considering they were able to suppress 2 players or shut down 2 players. So I guess we might see a bonus round once again from God's Reign. Because only 2 players were taken down, so they'll probably try to buy something that's not that expensive.
You know, I'm actually glad that True Rippers have to face this lurk from Vibor in a round like this where they don't have too much to lose. Imagine if Vibor was able to successfully lurk out of B and then come towards A-Link while True Rippers had bigger guns, or it was a much more standing ahead. Then that would have been disastrous. So it's good that they find the Vibor lurk right now when they have to take these losses than sometime else.
Once again, just stacking outside A, taking their sweet time. And as I mentioned, the players who died will of course try to buy something that's not that expensive. Side Dreams with only a frenzy in his hands. On the other hand, of course, the Vandals and the Phantoms on the board. The majority of the times, it's just going to be the Vandals. Autumn is inside this spot, a cheeky pocket, still being unspotted. Peeks out, finds the first one. We'll get the second one as well. Autumn, that's a huge play. You might as well call it monstrous, considering it's a bonus round for God's Ring. And if Autumn's able to find such a damage, of course, it's going to throw True Rippers off guard. And now, those guns are also probably retrievable. If God's Ring are able to get successfully their hands on those guns, it can't prove out to be huge, because Side Dreams only has a frenzy in his hands. He's also softened up quite a lot, so
30 seconds left.
I guess he's probably not going to be the one to wield the Phantom or the Vandal in his hands. His teammates probably will be the one to get the upgrades, and that's what exactly happens. But this time it's Kaizen racking the kills up, a 4K. Kaizen wants to find the ace. He's got a 4K in his hands. We're bored with only 10 HP. I guess he wants to give his life away. And he will make this ace happen. Almost. Really close. Kaizen himself is quite low as well, so he doesn't want to go for that extra risk, but eventually finds the ace. Kaizen, a huge heroic play, was able to stop the entire flood on the ace side all by himself.
A one-man army. This is the second ace that Kaizen has racked up for himself in this tournament. This young gun keeps on delivering again and again and again. I also feel quite bad for Autumn because Sai set up that bait for him. While Autumn was trapped near the door box, Sai decided to fight his frenzy. It made True Rippers think that there's nobody close up. That's how Autumn got the first 2 kills. And even after having that advantage, Kaizen was just able to take the round back in their hands.
Exactly. It was a 3-on-5. But if you're gonna, I guess, funnel through a same direction, you will be meeting with death and destruction. And that's what Kaizen rained upon them. It's a timeout from True Rippers, as they're of course getting close slowly and steadily to catch up with the lead God's Ring was able to build. And it's at this timeout, I'm pretty sure True Rippers will try to bring up some sort of a change inside the defaults, or probably the coach have got some insights that he wants to fill in on True Rippers. Because even the last time we saw True Rippers taking a timeout, we saw the coach, he was filling up a lot of information on his team, and then as soon as the timeout was done, we saw a huge impact from True Rippers.
Well, so far, the defenses from True Rippers have been reliant on quite a lot of these frags. Now, we haven't seen True Rippers play super aggressively yet, but this might just change things up. True Rippers are the kind of team that love to take up space if it's available. That's a big hit.
Kaizen being shut down in mid. Hoax was the one who was able to just nail his shot. Autumn with the Blade Storm. This man has proven out to be deadly once in the past, and you do not want to face against him once again. Autumn with a good entry inside garage.
Here.
And that's the Killjoy shutdown. That means a lot of those utilities are now pretty much going to be next to useless that she had placed all across the map. And that's a huge find. It's a 3-on-5 now. Once again, God's Ring, they've got a huge advantage inside this round as well. And what will God's Ring try to pull off? This positioning from Argue might just catch every single player off guard. He's being set up for a huge play, but no, instead it peeks out. Argue not definitely in a huge advantage spot now. He's tried his best to fall back, but unfortunately he's way too low to do so.
Last player standing. Down.
Disrupt gets 2 in a single spray down.
I have the spy.
And all that heroic efforts are actually paying off. Techno now in a position to pull off this 1v2.
Shock dart.
This shock dart should land directly
Spike
on
planted.
his feet. Can he
One
get away?
enemy remaining.
No, he's not.
Ooh.
Down to a 1v1.
The recon dart doesn't scan Vabor, so he probably doesn't have any clue that Vabor's in the close, Ryan. And Vabor's holding an off angle. But Vabor gets surprised himself, but still in the end, he's able to find that headshot against his opponent, barely able to clutch things out against him. True Rippers, all the time, even if they are against a man disadvantage, they're still able to find this positioning and these timings that are quite incredible. They're able to find these multi-kills. They're able to find those equalizers. It's quite interesting. And this positioning from Argue. If he would have just positioned himself inside the pocket, I'm pretty sure the entire teams of God's Reign would have been caught off guard. Because they just cleared that entire C-Long area. So I don't think so they would have checked that pocket once again.
Yeah, it came down to an unfortunate case of timing now, didn't it?
Yeah.
Quite a lot of aggression from Kaizen. Contact made, little damage done, but nothing significant so far. And this is when True Rippers really start to play aggressive. They have been holding their ground up. God's Reign's opportunity to make plays of their own, to double, triple peek them towards B and Garage. But now that True Rippers are playing aggressively towards A, it forces God's Reign to go C, where
Placing
Wimp is
swarm
prepared
grenade.
with his nano swarms.
Bomb grenade out.
Flashes out on the site. An easy stroll on the side once again. God's Reign, they get the site control back in the
Spike
hands.
planted.
Unfortunately for the side of True Rippers, they of course don't have the economy to back it up. They are on an eco route. Side Dreams being tagged up way too low. The utilities are just being flown in their direction to stop Kaizen. Kaizen was able to find a nice stink on the side. He's quite low, but once again whiffs his shots. Kaizen being shut down. And God's Reign, look at with the amount of pressure they're able to build on their opponents. But still, True Rippers, they're trying their best to fight back. They've got 2 more players on the board, which will be shut down eventually. But they were able to force out the Rolling Thunder. And that's quite a huge ultimate being forced out.
Yeah, but even when that Rolling Thunder was forced out, they almost killed the Breach. Sai surviving at 6 HP, Hoke surviving at like, what, 1 HP or just a little more than that. If they both indeed had died instead of just surviving on their last legs, True Rippers could have actually captured this round. Really,
God's Reign, this lead they have been able to establish, it's quite impressive. I do understand. But all the rounds, they're really just coming down to the wire. Every single round that we've seen so far, it's getting really close and way too close for comfort. And True Rippers, they definitely do have what it takes to make this comeback possible as well. And they have been proving it over and over and over again inside these rounds.
yeah, this time they double up their aggression towards a shot. If it doesn't give them any value, then they will at least use it to lurk towards the attacking spawn and hopefully pinch God's Reign inside. But now, God's Reign are taking a book right out of True Ripper's playbook. Sorry, they've taken a page right out of True Ripper's playbook. They're going to do the B-side hit, which they haven't done before.
God's Reign
Blocking sight.
catching the players of True Rippers off guard. Didn't expect this B-side coming in, but Wimp will be able to find a kill on the side Dreams. That's going to be a huge one too. Autumn on the flank inside Garage. Wimp definitely spots it out as well, and that's a little unfortunate timing for Autumn. He jumped and Wimp peeked out at the same time. Of course, because it's jump in accuracy. He wasn't able to get the kill, and Wimp got a huge advantage in that one. God's Reign, the players' positionings are being given away. The last man hoax is in the backside, but the stun's going to be perfect, and Wimp once again finds that one as well. Wimp with a 3K proves out to be heroic in that previous round, saving that round for his entire team. And as I said, True Rippers, they definitely do have what it takes to establish this comeback. All these rounds that we're seeing so far, they're coming down to the wire. And regardless what the outcome's going to be, I still feel like True Rippers, with the amount of fight they've given to God's Reign, it's been an incredible matchup.
Yeah, but the B-side hits from either team have been somewhat hit or miss. In the first half, we saw how many times True Rippers tried to attack this B site, and every time they tried to go into its C-Link or A-Link, they found a little semblance, they found a little advantage, and they were able to stabilize for just a little bit. But as soon as God's Reign tried to come back in via the Gross region, that's when True Rippers were in trouble. And the exact same thing applies for God's Reign over here in their attacking half as well. They sure can get the plant in, but they're not able to hold on to these entrances.
They've got the entrance once again on the site, and the backlines aren't being cleared successfully by Autumn. Wimp just sitting in the back once again, and Argue's backup will help him out. And God's Reign, they're being shut down with an instance. You blink it and you miss it. The entire B-side take has been denied successfully. And now the last man, Vapor, is trying his best to pull something incredible off, but no is going to be the answer. True Rippers, they deny that entry as well. And the reason why B-side has been sort of hit or miss is because in the post plants, it's usually quite easy to retake the B-side. You've got 3 ways where you can try and make your entry inside the B-side quite easily. And the main reason why it's easy to retake the B-side is because it's easy to flank the B-side. All you need to do is find your dominance through garage. And if you're able to get the garage control as a defender, you can pretty much just start flanking all the way from the back lines and choke every single player that is on the site. So it's tough to play the post plant if you're going to be positioning yourself in the site.
Yeah, and if you just take the B-side, fall back to the cross and hope that that's going to be enough, well, then you better have a lot of utility in your back pocket and stay alive to use that utility.
Deploying drone.
Side Dreams have got the Hunter's Fury available, and on the other hand, Wimp has got the Lockdown, Rolling Thunder, and even From the Shadows available. So True Rippers, they do have a decent amount of utilities to counter any sort of push that's being thrown on their way. This lockdown will definitely be quite helpful. But once again, they'll need to make sure that the aftershocks being burnt out, and then only the lockdown can be utilized. And you can see Disrupt's ready with the Rolling Thunder. As soon as the confirmation's given away, they will probably try to use the Rolling Thunder and charge back in the site. And they use the lockdown. But as soon as the lockdown's being countered, the Rolling Thunder will be initiated as well. And as you can see, every single player, of course, starting to move in, marching on the site. But True Rippers, they're always able to come up with these extra trades, which is really helping True Rippers out in taking this round, or at least keeping this round alive so far. Side Dreams cuts off the players who are overextending, and now one last man to go, and that's going to be in the name of Argue, trying his best to make this defuse happen, but Side Dreams is way too low, and you cannot expect him to peek out. He does, but in the nick of time.
That was such a hero performance from Hoax, dude. The aftershock he let go of as soon as he got stunned by the other Breach's Rolling Thunder, that was clutch. And it gave them a free kill. And then as soon as everyone else started dropping in towards hell, Hoax tried his level best to get as many frags, but he also coordinated with the rest of his team to play along with default box as well.
Enemy remaining.
Argue was able to successfully pull it off, but once again, Side Dreams played that perfectly. He burnt as much time as possible, enough time to make sure that the spike's gonna blow off,
Ahead.
and then peeks out and sacrifices himself for the cause. Garage control will be taken quite dominantly this time. They're trying to assert dominance, but Kazan will peek out aggressively from the opposite side and is able to shut down quite an impactful player there. Side Dreams from the game taken out quite early off this time.
Yeah, he was the one who stayed alive the most in the previous round, made things easier for his team. And now that he's gotten his team to map point, let's see how much he can do. But that skill! This skill onto Kaizen, that's going to be a game changer, man. An AWP versus a Bulldog. Vibor had no business winning this.
And he does. And that's Vapor for you, ladies and gentlemen. A classic Vapor. A wild Vapor has appeared. The Kazan being shut down, as you mentioned, of course, that's going to play a huge role if there is any sort of success being found from Godsreen inside this round. And look at this off angle, and what just happened? Wimp, he was caught sleeping, and the entire Seaside controls now given away. Godsreen, once again, Seaside taken in the hand quite easily, and now it's just left down to the rest 3 players that are up and alive. Techno, Disrupt, and Aryu to go. And Godsreen, just to keep this thing in mind, guys, is that Godsreen, all they need is one more round. And they're seeming to be quite close to that round.
Yeah, time's running out for the Rippers.
One enemy
Within
remaining.
their hopes as well. Nice couple of kills from Audio and Disrupt, but this is just too much for them to bear.
First map, ladies and gentlemen, taken by the players of Godsreen. As expected, they do come through victorious, but as I said, regardless of what the outcome's gonna be off the first map, every single round was way too close for comfort. And Godsreen, I'm pretty sure they have felt the nerves against True Rippers. True Rippers gave them a tough fight no matter what. Considering Godsreen is one of those top tier teams, still True Rippers stood strong to fight against them. But once again, Gazrian, as always, they keep their flag high up in the sky, and they're not going to let it down anytime soon. They are over here to dominate, and they will keep on dominating even in the future lines as well. But ladies and gentlemen, the upcoming map is going to be the map of Pearl. Before now, as the first map has been claimed by Godsreen, we're going to push to a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the post-match segment.
Hit for my wins, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the bench, I get it in.
The all-new i20, born magnetic.
Making dreams come true and memories happier.
The all-new i20, born magnetic.
Hit for my wins, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the bench, I get it in.
I know my destiny. 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 I know my destiny.
lurk around in the map of Pearl or find that opening with the lurk successfully, then things can be way better, or that round can be easily secured for your team. But with that being said, welcome my homies from YouTube to Valorant Challenger South Asia, driven by Hyundai, as we do move on forward to the map of Pearl. Before that, we will be taking a look at the Asian Select. And of course, it's going to be pretty much the regular Asian Select from the side of Godstream. I don't think so there are any sort of changes over here. On Pearl, usually Godstream do like to play this sort of a lineup, so where we haven't really seen a lot of changes. And I wasn't able to take a look at the True Rippers lineup that well, or I wasn't really able to analyze the lineup that well, but inside the game, if there are any sort of changes, I will of course try to point out. As you said, it's almost the same, so it probably has to be almost the same as well.
Yeah, nothing out of the ordinary over here. I would have expected at least one harbor from maybe True Rippers, considering that they are the ones who innovate, but hey, I'm completely okay with them going back to the basics.
Hey, I mean, sometimes if you are not really sure about your experimental plays or something you're trying to bring new to the table, I feel like it's always better to stick to your comfort zone. It's always. Unless if things are just not working out and you've even tried your previous plays as well, and you know you might as well try and go for those experimental plays, then maybe that's the time to pull it out. But in the first map, it did work out, but on the map of Pearl, you definitely do not want to take any risks, especially when your opponent has chosen those. And you talked about the mid defense, and so far it's working out pretty fine for the side of Godlike. They are able to deny the entire arch control successfully, and all the 4 players just dropped down. Are you the last man, the last glimmer of hope alive, with a ghost in the hand, and too many players in the front to try and tackle? And even RU is down to 70 HP. He doesn't even have the spike available. The opponents have the spike control. And look at where Autumn is. He's positioned himself in quite an interesting spot. As soon as RU gets spotted in mid, I think so that's going to be it for him, because Autumn's got his crosshair lined up.
That was such a good defense from Godlike. Yeah, they were basically a meat grinder towards Art. And the interesting fact is, the players who were playing towards that tall box did not even peeking first. So as soon as Kaizen died, the 2 remaining players towards A-Link, they fell back for a second. Flashes came through from Hoax once again. And then they all double peeked together. So the first time when True Rippers try to fight towards A-Link, they will only find one person. And then when they try to fight again, all 3 of them are over there. So it's almost like it's almost like a surprise element for True Rippers. They think that there's only going to be one person, but then there's so many.
Speak about the surprise element, and I mean, the mid control was denied so beautifully, man. The fire they had set up was so well. And Godstream, Tix was able to find the shot, or at least the connection, onto the dome of Kaizen. And now the entire team's going to start to fall back. RU is the only controller on the map available for them. They haven't even got a Viper in the composition. And it's pretty much going to be the similar type of stuff on both the sides. So I guess this lineup they've got is sort of equally balanced. It is a mirror, so we're hoping both these teams are going to be able to take this matchup completely close. And once again, they're going to try to go for this arch control.
Ooh, and insert fighting for the cards. Godwin giving up the play for the site, and they're trying to see
One enemy remaining.
and Ember and Hoax, they turn up the kill once again. This is again a meat grinder. It's almost the same experience for True Rippers all the time.
This is the Godstream watch party. And every single person in the watch party is, of course, amped up. They're feeling it. They're looking pretty hype. They're vibing. Whatever words you guys want to use there. But yeah, it was just an eco round on the side of True Rippers, so nothing can be confidently said just yet.
Gun selected, weapons on board. Let's see how God's Range choose to respond this time. They know they can't fight at range, so God's Range would much rather force these fights towards the Art or the Double Doors region, where even at close range, the Spectres can do quite a lot of damage.
Speak of that, and we've got a technical timeout, unfortunately, and it seems like Wimp is the man who's got a little problem onto his computer. We don't exactly know what sort of a technical issue this man is facing, but we're sure that it will be resorted as quick as possible. And hopefully it's not a huge technical issues to it, because I'm not a huge fan of those, because usually technical timeout means podcast hours. I'm not sure if the chat enjoys it, but we definitely do have a blast, right?
Yeah, we do. I mean, it's not like we enjoy technical pauses either. I myself am having technical problems every now and then, so it's kind of a tough time for me, so I can relate to how the players are also feeling. It kind of disrupts your flow.
Disrupts your flow, breaks your momentum, sort of gives the enemy or the opponent to sort of build his own momentum and try and come up with a tactic to try and counter you. But it seems like we have got this technical issue resorted, and Wimp is fine as ever before. And now True Rippers will have the Vandals on the board for themselves. Every single player is just going for that Vandal. No one's a huge fan of the Phantom over here. On the other regions, we're seeing a lot of those Phantoms being pulled out, but in our region particularly, the players are a huge fan of Vandals. Before now, as Godsrean, Autumn was set up in quite an interesting angle. Autumn gets killed instantly. That was a nice bullet. Just finds a crack on his skull. Even Wimp as well is able to find one with his lurk, and he's going to keep on lurking around. And this time he's going to make his way towards ours. It does seem like Ember's sort of ready for that lurk as well, but as True Rippers, they get their stroll on the site. They're going to start funnel in. That's a nice trade from them. But still, Tix was able to do a lot of damage. He was able to take down 2 players all by himself. Ember moving in quite close. His position being spotted as well. Switches on over to a Vandal. He's able to find one. Second one could have went down as well. That got a little too close to comfort. But once again, True Rippers, they've taken a little bit too much damage onto themselves. They've only had 2 players left alive. So that means the rest of the players might just have some broken buys.
Yeah, I mean, this was quite a good bonus round. With just a bunch of Marshals and Bulldogs, they managed to kill 3 of the True Rippers members. Not only did they figure out that True Rippers like to hit B with only 4 players, but they also figured out that they sometimes might leave Vim to lurk around. So they're gonna be very careful about that. And because of it, they've already changed up the Killjoy setup. The Killjoy is now setting up towards the B side with the alarm bot.
And this morning, I was also watching Tenz's stream, and Tenz was buying a lot of light shields, right? He was buying a lot of light armor in his stream, so someone donated him money and asked him, why are you going for light armor even when you have enough amount of economy to go for a heavy shield? Tenz replied saying that, I saw Fnatic do this a lot, and what this does is you're able to buy light armor with only 400k credits. You're able to buy a lot with so little credits. That's a huge value, and also at the same time, I'm pretty much having the ability to buy every single round. So, I mean, these are the little changes that a lot of these pro teams are able to implement. I mean, so far, we haven't seen that being implemented in our region, but I'm pretty sure as these players do start to, you know, like move on forward, start to research even more, I'm pretty sure even they will start implementing those changes.
Yeah, I mean, the light shields only really make a difference when your opponent has Spectres. If your opponent has a Spectre and you have light shield, there's a good chance that you're gonna die. But if they have barriers,
30 seconds left.
you're still gonna get one down.
Indeed, and on the body as well. I mean, Phantom's gonna 4-shot you. Vandal maybe will 3-shot you if all the shots are being hit on the abdomen. But what are the chances of that, right? If you're able to win your good duels in the first place as well. So, once again, a light armor, I feel like, is quite valuable with less credits before now. If we are going to focus inside this round, with only 2 players left alive, True Rippers, this entire defense seems next to impossible, and they're also going to lose out on the post plant. Tix proven out to be huge for his team, and securing another round for his team. True Rippers losing out on that round, considering, of course, the previous round, or the previous round, Godsrean had a guns deficit, or guns disadvantage, but now, as the weaponry were equal, Godsrean, they easily tackle him.
This was quite a good adjustment from Godlike too. You see, last time how Godlike stopped them was by basically crunching towards Art and making sure that their rotations came in on time. That was partially possible because they slowed True Rippers down, bought enough time for rotations to come in. But this time, there wasn't enough time, so Godlike just basically made the dugout player in a very suicidal manner where kills and get an advantage, and then the rest of them will just rely on the Nightfall.
Speak of that, and True Rippers with only Sheriff, Sand, and Marshall in the hand. Next to impossible to convert this round unless some free picks are being given away from Godsrean. And Ember's pushing up quite deep.
Your fault.
He's also been able to rack up a lot of info. And as I talked about free peeks, there's a free pick from Vapor. Maybe got a little too confident and tried to peek out in the open. Didn't expect the man in the front. And Kaizen was just able to sneak in so deep without Vapor even having any sort of clue. Was able to sneak away with a kill as well. And also a huge man advantage given away to the opponents. Kaizen now slowly and steadily starting to fall back towards mid, and it seems like True Rippers, they're heavily relying towards that arts control as well. Ember all the way over here towards the A main area, spots out the player in the left, will shut him down. That was the name of RU, and this time Autumn's operator as well finds a lot of connection. Kaizen be shut down as well, but Wimp is a little too close for comfort, and Wimp is able to stack them up on top of each other. With only a sheriff in the hand, he gets his hands on the operator as well. Wimp with another kill. It seems like he's on a mission impossible to secure this round for his team, or at least help him secure this round. Even Techno's got a decent amount of utilities in his hands. On the other hand, though, Tix has got none. It's a Fade versus Fade, where Techno only has a sheriff in the hand. But this time, Tix is going to come out on top. With the gun's advantage, of course. Shuts him down. And saves the round for his team once again. Godsreen, that got a little too close for comfort, even though the opponents had an eco round coming in. Autumn was able to find 2 successful picks, but unfortunately his teammates weren't really able to play off of with him, as he was the only man left over inside arts. Ember,
Spike down.
as you guys saw these picks, it's incredible. I mean, Autumn was able to get so many picks, but still, unfortunately, his teammates just weren't able to follow him there. A huge problem, of course, but it's completely fine. And one thing is for sure, True Rippers, they're really putting a lot of pressure on that arts area. And speak of that, and this time, True Rippers, once again, they've got quite a heavy presence in mid. They're just relying on this mid control a lot, huh? If you haven't seen them stroll all the way towards the B long so far, even once, they're adamant to taking this mid control in the hand and then slowly and steadily traverse on towards that arts area. Kaizen will peek out once again, but the smoke's gonna be in his face on the point, on the time. Vapor is the man who's trying his best to hold things off over here. And True Rippers, I guess they're gonna have the similar sort of flow once again. Take the arts control, go for the A site, and there has to be a reason why True Rippers are really doing this over and over again. I mean, I guess True Rippers have understood the pattern over here that Godsreen, they heavily rely on the KG utility towards the arts, so it's quite easy to take the arts control, and they exactly do so. They're so adamant in just going for the A site over and over again. And once again, they get the spike plant down, instantly fall back for the post plants, but still, they've got a couple of flanks that might just be initiated soon enough. Especially Autumn on that flank. He will be cut off instantly. Disrupts the man to shut down Autumn. So the flank being deactivated, Godsreen are looking fine as ever before. But the traits are happening back and forth, and Godsreen are able to make things in their favor. But as soon as I say that, there's an equalizer. RU is going to be good for 2 to shut down the entire round in the favor of True Rippers. Beautifully done from True Rippers there. And as I said, there has to be a reason why True Rippers is committing to that arts control over and over again. There's been a lot of times where Godsreen just try to pull off with the KG utility or play the arts area with the KG utility. There is sometimes presence being shown, but usually when they're just trying to play off with the KG utilities, then of course they're being punished. And once again, you're seeing a heavy stack on the A site, or at least on the A main. There's a chance Ember and Tix could have pushed out, but that was going to be the answer, at least for now. And as Kaizen, he starts to lead the pack. True Rippers, they're still in search of some bodies.
Bam. My ultimate.
Oh, we speak of bodies, and Tix lines them up. Great shot. Also a nice trade from Kaizen, but Hopes is prepared right around the corner. There's not too many smokes that's been deployed by True Rippers. They're only using the cloudbursts for cover, which don't give them all that much protection, but they somehow make their way into the site.
And now Godsreen, they're just trying to hold the close quarters off with the shorties and the sheriffs. Still, the Sheriffs might just ring some heads. Wubor's the man in the clotheslines. Moving in from the back lines towards the flower pot area. Inside Secret, there's Autumn. But unfortunately, because of smoke, he's got no visual on the site so far. True Rippers, on the other hand, they're playing this one quite disciplined. They've got a little crossfire set up towards the arts and on the site. And Autumn try to pull some shenanigans off. It's not going to be successfully pulled off, of course. But True Rippers, they're finally getting their grip back inside the game.
Yeah, and this time True Rippers did something really smart. Usually whenever a team is executing, right, they will deploy the smokes first and then start pushing in. This time True Rippers did not do that. They let the side be open, only used a little bit of cloudburst for cover, which only lasts for like what, 4.5 something seconds. And the reason they did that is because they knew that God's Reign is on an eco. If God's Reign tried to fight them with their sheriffs and their shorties, the Vandals can still reign supreme. So True Rippers would much rather leave this area open without any smokes, pick up those fights, and then after the spike went down, they put down the smokes to delay the God's Reign retake.
No command being popped. And the entire roster starts to move in from that double doors area. Disrupt is just so aggressive on this KO. He'll probably try to pop flash out with a KO flash as well, and that's what he exactly does, but unfortunately doesn't check the close pocket and gets surprised by Wubor's bullet to his skull. On the other hand, even God's Reign themselves do have an ult command available, but they still haven't invested it yet. Even Tix has got the Nightfall available. But still, they're just keeping it available in their hands. They're not going to try to utilize it inside this round because so far it seems like they've got the round easily in their hands. Kaizen with the Phantom on the board. Definitely going to be tough to clutch it out. But once again, we've seen these type of moments in the past as well. But Hoax with the off angle will catch Kaizen off guard.
Yeah, quite a clean this time. Quite a clean round from True Rippers this time. Yes, they lost the round, but it's okay because they managed to get in so deep. They actually made God's Reign sweat this time around. And surprisingly, God's Reign did not rotate as quickly as I thought they would. So maybe True Rippers did something right.
And this pattern that was being shown from True Rippers over and over again, they were really putting some heavy amount of pressure towards the arts area. And I guess True Rippers, in that research which they've done, they were able to realize the fact that usually God's Reign try to play off of the arts area with just KG utilities and an alarm bot to play off the connection. And once they were able to get rid of all those utilities early off in the round, the arts control was taken away freely from them. And they were able to pull it off once successfully too once they had the Vandals on the board. But you cannot keep on doing that over and over again, so True Rippers need to bring in some sort of variant. So that's why they probably tried that strategy, but even that didn't work out.
Hey, but it's still quite early in the game. 8 rounds in, 4 more rounds left in this half, and luckily both these teams have overcome their economic difficulties, economic woes, and neither of them has too much advantage, right? Because True Rippers have, what, 4,000 something credits in the pocket, so they can afford to buy for 1 more round in case they lose. And God's Reign have somewhere around the 3,000 to 1,000 mark of credits, so they can afford to purchase light shields and some smaller guns. But the bigger concern this time is that God's Reign have 4 ultimates, and this could be massive. At least True Rippers are trying to bait out all the utility from before right off the start. Both the nanoswarms already expended, so this is quite nice. We spoke about how True Rippers was struggling in Haven because they didn't use up, they didn't make God's Reign use up enough util before. Now Vibor still holding the angle, the flash pushes them back, but it also disrupts their own teammates, so that was a bit of a mistake. And Hoax then burns them alive with the fragments.
Utility utilization once again from God's Reign is just so on the point. You got to speak of the timing as well. And the reaction on that utility utilization is just so nice. And Autumn this time on the map of Pearl, his operator is able to connect those shots. So at least that's a good news for God's Reign, considering now you're the man who was not able to find a lot of impact on the first map with the operator. He's able to wake himself up on the map of Pearl where you do need to find a lot of impact with the up.
Yeah, but this time, once again, signs of stubbornness from True Rippers are visible once again. I mean, they were quite stubborn by going towards the B side again and again in Haven. This time, they've knocked on the double doors for 2 rounds back to back. And it's not even like someone of them was trying to lurk in from the main or something else. Oh my god, that's a nice shot by Kaizen though. He knew that he's gonna get revealed by the haunt, but he still went for that frag regardless, so that takes nerves. Yeah, but
Indeed it does.
my point being, it's not even like in the previous round they tried to have someone lurk in art or try to have someone come in from B main or whatever. They all just tried to enter double doors and force their way inside, so that kind of stubbornness probably won't work for them later on. Good trade by Wimp, but his teammates have already secured A main and gotten into the side, so this should be a good plant.
Indeed it should be. And True Rippers, even though they haven't really got the superior amount of weaponry in the hand, they're still able to do so much damage. And Kaizen, with this Blade Storm, is able to find some nice connections.
Spike planted.
And now the last man to go, Autumn with the operator in the hand, but Kaizen with the 4K. Once again, there's just always this one man on each side who's able to pop things off, and usually it's Jet. In the previous map, it was Autumn who was able to help his team secure those thrifties, and this time now it's Kaizen who's pulling out this shenanigans and able to help his team secure these rounds.
And the timing from them, so good. It's
Yeah.
the calling of his teammates too as well, right? Because the moment True Rippers realize that God's Reign aren't fighting towards A main, it's partially because they want to reinforce art and play towards A link. And that's exactly why his teammates who were coming in from A main didn't go to plant, but instead helped out with... Oh, but there's no helping Kaizen. He was the difference maker in the last round, but he's been eliminated right off the bat here.
That was such a hard shot to hit. He didn't even have a lot of his opponent's visual, because he was only able to see that head move slightly, and he still finds that connection. Kind of amazing. Surprises me, to be honest. Really nice shot, but this time it's Disrupt who's going to reply back in style once again. Lockdown being invested. Vapor cannot stay inside similar type spot once again, but the counter lockdown as well. I guess both these lockdowns were really just used at the same time, so none of them are going to be able to find any sort of value, but unfortunately for God's Reign, Vapor gets detained, so he's going to be deactivated at least for a while.
Yeah, but Vapor doesn't get got, so his Nanoswarms can still do some damage. The plant will go down regardless, but maybe they can take a little bit of their HP off on the way back. This could make things easier for God's Reign. They've got the HP advantage. Techno's almost dead. And that's exactly why he's playing this close angle. He makes his life worth it. Wimp peeks out and he frags out of his mind, leaving Ember to do it all. And he's only got the information on one player. He doesn't know where the other one is. Audi was already on the way back. And Wimp has no idea that his ability to ball down time will help his team out so much. Are you coming in clutch with the flank?
Even True Rippers, they're hyped up. We love these type of hype moments, of course. And, of course, I mean, the start off to the round was quite incredible. But finally, this is the first time we've seen True Rippers sort of bring a huge change inside the pace of the game. Straight up attacking the B-long side, also getting the side control easily in the hand. I guess whatever they were trying to do in the first couple of rounds was just conditioning. They were just putting that mid pressure over and over again, and then as soon as they decided to go towards B long, no one expected that push to be completely committed, and True Rippers made that possible. Once again, heavy presence outside A. Of course, the players were spotted, and True Rippers, they're going to decide to fall back.
Oh, nice timing by Wimp once again. He's been here before, but this time Autumn, he's ready for his shenanigans. Let's see if True Rippers try something similar. Last time they tried to hit A like this, they basically waited for Wimp to strike, and then the rest of them came in towards Art via A main instead of going for the plant directly. Now without Wimp, they just have to make their way through. At least the utility dump manages to get them to kill onto Hoax, and they do the exact same thing. They take A main, and then they hit Art. And hey, hold on, they're not even trying to hit Art again. They're not staying there. They've sent Kaizen, who does die to report towards A link, but the rest of them managed to get the plant down. Unfortunately, they've lost too many members in the process.
But even God's Reign are able to find a lot of replies against him. Even though things fell apart when the null command was popped, but as soon as it gets deactivated, God's Reign are able to embrace, or at least they're able to assert the dominance back on the site. That was a good pop flash, and what was that? Spray transfer, Disrupt!
Wow.
A disgusting shot onto Tix. Puts him to sleep, and now one more to go. Report's quite hurt. Tough to pull anything off, and Disrupt with a 4K. That's a heroic play from Disrupt. With only 7 HP, still makes it happen.
Yeah, and you can see the smile on their faces give them such a huge sigh of relief. There was way too much tension pent up in the True Rippers camp, and that quad kill is gonna change everything.
That's just incredible. Considering that spray transfer just connected right to the dome, it's impressive. Disrupt. One of those plays, of course, everyone would like to see, ladies and gentlemen. And Disrupt, he stood up strong and tall when his team needed him the most. It did seem like Godsreen sort of were able to assert the dominance back, but Disrupt's like, no, I'm the alpha on the stage right now, and I'm not going to let you guys assert the dominance back. But with that being said, we're going to push to a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Came for my wings, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the beach, I get it in.
The all-new i20, born magnetic.
Came for my wings, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the beach, I get it in.
Welcome back after the short break. The first half was quite a close half, of course. A 6-6 half. And True Rippers are able to reply back as strong as possible on the map pick of Godsreen. And of course, an impressive performance from both the sides, but True Rippers really standing up tall and huge.
Yeah, and this is quite a good half from them, man. Neither of these teams were able to build up too much economic momentum. They weren't able to string rounds together back-to-back, except for like maybe the last 3 rounds that True Rippers pulled off. And that came on the back of some really stubborn variations we only saw in the last 2 of them. So, yeah, True Rippers innovate every now and then, but you never know when they're gonna do it.
Vision.
This time, True Rippers pushing
Placing
up
swamp grenade.
the ramp. They don't see anybody. And Wimp is the only one who's on A, so he just has to survive and buy time for his teammates to follow up.
Oh, I'm seeing what's going on over here. I mean, we saw quite a proactive control from the opponents this time. This entire flank might just be spotted. Yeah, the sound's heard, and True Rippers do realize the flank's not given away.
Where are you?
But they're still going to continue without caring at all. But look at this frenzy, and the trigger discipline was there on the point. But unfortunately, it's not going to work out because RU checks that angle, and that entire trigger discipline play is going to be put to sleep, at least for now. Godsreen moving it forward with 3 players only left over for their side. Make it only 2, and Vibor with this lurk of himself was able to at least get 1, but I'm pretty sure that's all he's going to be able to find.
Yeah, and at that moment, Tix knew that he should have just fired it, man. He should have just let it go. He saw 2 people walk past without checking him, and he starts to get that temptation. He starts to get that feeling that this is going to be a great moment. Unfortunately, RU is just a little bit smarter, and he checks everything that his teammates don't. Somebody has to keep things in check. Somebody has to be the big brain IGL, and that somebody is RU this time.
And he is the
with a
IGL.
valiant attempt.
Are you taking care of his team? Making sure his team's not going to fall on his faces just because one little mistake. And that's well done from his side.
Concealment.
Fade Revealed's going to be utilized to give them the info. Not a lot of info being found in Godsreen this time, just punishing the proactive players.
My double's dead.
What was that shot?
Don't ask me, bro. Don't ask me. I can't hit stuff like that. And Disrupt going alone towards A lane. Does he know there's so many players present over here? The fragment is going to buy him a couple of seconds, but he's playing in a one and done spot. So unless he gets back up, he's probably not going to survive this one.
Last player standing.
And the double peek comes through. There you have it.
Thrifties after Thrifties being pulled out, and usually it's the Jets on the other side who were able to find the impact. It's incredible. Kazan helped his team find one of those Thrifties, and now it seems like Autumn's going to have a huge hand behind the Thrifty that Godsreen are able to pull out. Autumn's probably going to be the first man to peek out as well. Kazan's a little worried, or a little paranoid as you would like to say, about his backlines.
30 seconds left.
Doesn't exactly know what to expect. On the other hand, Vibor's pushing up towards Secret.
Spike planted.
Kazin all the way. From the flower pot area, moving it forward. Does find Hoax. But his position's now given away. And Vobor from the backlines is going to start to move in. Are we going to see a knife? I wanted to see a knife.
Well, there you have it. The pistol round momentum negated completely. I thought for a second over there that True Rippers will have the start they need, and with this momentum that they just gathered, they should be able to push this game into map number 3, but I guess I was a little too optimistic over there. God's Reign get this round back, and there's just so many backup policies upon backup policies, man. The fact that the position that Wimp was exploiting in the first half now gets used against him, it's just comical.
If that were me, instead of Vobor, I would have went for the knife. Not even gonna lie.
I expected you would say something like that. You've always been the kind of guy who tries to rub salt into his enemies' wounds, huh?
Oh yeah,
Always been
dude,
BM
trust
guy.
me. I've played a lot of these 10-mans, and I mean, especially when Valo was really new, when Valo just launched. I used to also play Valo professionally, right? I mean, not that high level, but I mean, I've faced against VLT, the old VLT, where they had like the entire right to ace and all the lineup, and I played this game professionally myself. And I was one of those guys who would, like, even though my team is losing by a long margin, I would still try to do something that will enrage the opponents. And I would continue doing it. But for now, as we have God's Reign with the B-side control, the entire team of True Rippers is trying to move in from the back lines. They've got the sheriffs in the hands, slowly and steadily moving in towards the site as all the 4 players are stacked up over there. Hoax's position's compromised as well, but it seems quite tough to take down Hoax. Hoax has only got 14 HP left. He cannot peek out because the turret's planted. And if he does, he might just be taken down by the turret, but it's okay. His teammates got his back.
Oh, can they recover his Phantom? No, they can't. That's okay, I guess. They've got plenty of money, and the fact that they were able to negate the pistol momentum itself is going to be making them happy enough. Now, we move on to the big rounds, the more important ones, where True Rippers can actually give God's Reign a run for their money. With the weaponry available on either side, True Rippers, one thing has to be appreciated. They've been quite proactive on their defense. They don't like to hold their defaults on. They always like to play aggressively in some or the other part of the map. Let's see where that's going to be this time. Utility exchanged on Art from either side, but take a look at this gravity well placed. It doesn't do much. In fact, Autumn, he's led into a trap. He's lured by a false sense of security, thinking that the Oppa won't be present over there, but then Kaizen gives him a nasty surprise.
Speaking about a nasty surprise, and that's a nasty spray being connected onto Vobor. Only 20 HP left over on that man. Definitely a sad moment, but it's completely fine. Once again, the similar pattern being repeated from the opponents. God's Reign, they're trying to go for the B-long control once again. But this time, True Rippers, they seem well prepared. They've got the pop flash ready, and as soon as the pop flash will go out, I'm pretty sure the guy who's inside the elbow area will try to play off the contact, but Disrupt is a man who's been feeling himself. He takes down 2 before he goes down himself, and RU plays off of the contact pretty well. Vobor on the flank was a man on the mission, but he doesn't have a lot of HP to support him.
Thank goodness, this crossfire between True Rippers, it seemed sketchy at first, but then it became clear as day as to how impactful it can be. One playing on swing, the other one playing on contact. As soon as Disrupt hears all these people, look at the positioning that RU does. He was previously playing the left-hand side of the backside, but then he repositions himself and he catches almost everybody. And the reason this works so well is because God's Reign will first clear RU's position, and when they don't see anything, that's when they move towards Disrupt. And RU, who's been hidden all this time, then finally reveals his intentions, and his intentions are violent.
Speak about the violent intentions. You know what, Crips? I was just sitting and wondering. I had this thought in my head. I was like, the watch parties these guys are having, which stream are they watching? Are they watching the English stream or the Hindi stream? That's a good question, right?
That could be a good question if I actually ever watched if I actually ever participated in watch parties. I mean, I know for a fact that when Global Esports have their next game in VCD Pacific, they are probably going to have a physical watch party. And somebody might not appreciate me leaking this information right away, but hey, I'm a man of the community. I'm going to give them what they want.
Interesting.
True Rippers aren't giving God's Reign anything. Look at the patience from God's Reign. They've been playing so slowly, so patiently, hoping that True Rippers will play a little bit aggressively so that they can pick True Rippers off and then make their own moves. But so far, True Rippers has shown nothing. And when God's Reign try to take a peek, Kaizen will obliterate them.
Speaking about Kaizen obliterating, he gets obliterated himself. And also the side control's now given away. Tix was all by himself on the B side trying to create some sort of distractions, but True Rippers really didn't fall for that. Some good stuff. And now, God's Reign, they pushed up quite deep as well. A decent amount of map control has been taken away from them, but True Rippers, they're sort of aware of that fact. And that's why RU as well isn't just straight up peeking out. Nice shot from RU to shut down the man who's overextending and also trying to extend for a little bit of more map control. Hoax got way too close for comfort to getting both of those kills. But in the end, Hoax wasn't able to do so successfully. But once again, I mean, you know what, guys? The people are watch partying from True Rippers or from even the opposing side, which are God's Reign. Let us know which stream you guys are watching. Are you guys watching the English stream or are you guys watching the other stream, which is the Hindi? I mean, you guys can tag us on our socials, right? You guys can let us know.
Go ahead and do that. That will be great. True Rippers, on the other hand, I like how they're adjusting now. They just simply don't play aggressively at all, which is kind of surprising because in the first 2 rounds, all they did was push out. So this kind of throws God's Reign off guard. I mean, in this entire round, they wasted some good 50-something seconds hoping that True Rippers would play aggressively, but they found nothing. Good attempt by Autumn too. He tried to get that frag with the updraft right away, but now he's down to just 1 blade.
Concealment.
And no, God's Reign being forced on Nico. Of course, a huge advantage once again for True Rippers to try and convert or pull something off here. Wabor almost taking down his opponent, Vim there. And Vim's being softened up by quite a lot.
Concealment.
He's low. Cannot afford to go for that extra risk. Autumn with the shorty in the hand, looking to burst out with his teammate soon enough. Hoax has got the flash prepared. The flash will be utilized. Blinding Argue at least for a while, and he will be deactivated, but the shot from Argue is right on the skull of Autumn. So no value being found just yet for the shorty. Hoax all by himself, and he's going to get mopped up as well.
Quite clean. Well, let's see if True Rippers can keep up this momentum. Up until now, they've been nothing but impressive. God's Reign, who started off this game with quite a lot of tenacity, are now starting to show cracks.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure in the interview, too, they're going to have a lot of things to say. Considering God's Reign is one of those teams that considers themselves, and even they have showcased as well, they have proven to be the top team, or at least one of those top tier teams in South Asia. And then they're going against a team like True Rippers, which are underdogs. And as I said, they have the potential to be one of those top tier teams as well. And they're struggling quite a bit. And Kaizen with these sort of openings is really just giving a huge advantage to the entire roster.
Yeah, this man's been on fire, man. The fragging power on Kaizen is incredible. I'm surprised that he was playing Initiative for so long when you can unleash this beast in the duelist role and let him just run free, let him run rampant. And this exactly is why God's Reign are so scared to approach him now. They can't even use Tix's utility to figure out exactly where he is. So you know what? They would much rather just use the entire Cosmic Divide. This doesn't just block out Kaizen, it blocks out everybody from True Rippers. So it lets them plant at the very least. But still, True Rippers have the lockdown. Another counter lockdown will be placed. It doesn't matter. It's gonna just turn this entire round into a stalemate.
Speaking of that, of course the counter lockdown is going to be a little annoying for both the sides, and they've also got a decent amount of players detained, and Kaizen is now going to try to capitalize with that. True Rippers, they're just playing it so well, and look at Kaizen, a lightning fast shot. The right click with Blade Storm, and Kaizen just is a man unleashed. Oh boy, Kaizen, what were those disgusting shots?
Yeah, dude. I mean, at least the first shot seemed simple enough when he got the first kill. They were just basically walking into his crosshair. But then the next few kills were so incredible. He had to go above that cosmic divide, pull his crosshair down to such an extent, I thought he might have run out of mousepad space while trying to hit that shot with the blade storm. And then it repeats the same angle from top, this time with an AWP. Who on earth is mad enough to do that? Who on earth is mad enough to repeat the same angle? Oh, it's just superb to see this boy frag out.
I'm telling you, man, true rippers. They had a lot of things cooking up in the back. They were just not revealing it so far. Especially Kazan on his duelist role, he's having way too much off impact. And once again, I mean, God's Reign, they do get the side control in hand. The rest of the players are still in the back lines of true rippers, and they're respecting the amount of space God's Reign have gathered. But how are they going to make this comeback?
Bring them
That's
down.
one of the questions that I'm definitely wondering. Still a little paranoid about the backlines. I don't exactly know if there's someone in the backlines or not. But True Rippers, once again, they make this comeback happen. They make this entire retake possible.
Nanas wants to destroy it, so now God's Reign have no choice but to continue spamming the spike. But instead of trying to go for the tap, Disrupt is moving ahead towards Pillar while Arius takes the defuse. Disrupt needs to blow their heads off while these guys are busy trying to kill Aryu.
Oh
and
my
he's
God,
safe
what?
inside his smoke. He actually pulls this off.
Match point.
What? True Rippers. Oh, now they're starting to get in nerves of God's Reign, I'm pretty sure. They're now going to start to get in the nerves of God's Reign. Because God's Reign, this is a competition they haven't faced in a long time. And I'm pretty sure, considering with how confident they were looking in every single matchup they had, especially Tix and Autumn, whenever these guys were called on the interviews, these guys had a lot of confidence in the way they played. But True Rippers, it seems like they're here to break that confidence down. They're here to break all that ego they had built down.
Get God's Reign make this comeback though. 4 rounds in a stretch. And so far, God's Reign have only tried to explore B main in the last few rounds. They did try a few rounds ago to go via double doors and let the timing play in their favor, but it just wasn't working as well as they thought it would. So they were hoping that they can play at range. They were hoping that if they can shut down Kaizen, things might just be easy. But hey, shutting down Kaizen is no small task. It's Herculean, especially when this boy has so much adrenaline pumping through his veins. His reflexes are on point and he's just hitting every single shot. And despite the heroics that Kaizen has pulled off, he isn't the deadliest guy on the server. It's Disrupt, so you need to shut them both down somehow.
Disrupt and Kaizen, they're having the day of their lives. They're feeling it today. And as I said once in the past duel, you cannot give isolated duels to a player that is feeling himself. It's going to be tough to come out on top in those duels. Wimp holding quite an interesting angle on the door and finds an opening once again. It's quite problematic. Wimp with the second one too. Two Rippers. With the sort of a team play these guys are showing, it's just incredible. And now just 3 more players to go, in which Hoax is quite damaged. Oh, this is not looking good for God's Reign. Someone needs to go heroic. Someone needs to go nuclear inside this round if they do want to secure it in their hands. Null command being popped. The entire A side should be easily back in their hands. Wilpor is still up and alive towards the arts area. And now they're also able to isolate these duels. Well played from God's Reign. With the sort of mind games they're able to play and able to pull off, things are looking quite incredible. But now it's all down to Hoax. The last man left alive. And it's going to be next to impossible to claim the round because Hoax is way too low. But True Rippers, they suppress or they shut down the entire enemy team of God's Reign on their own map pick. And we're going to be moving it forward towards the decider. Grips, I'm pretty sure you're quite astonished.
I'm not astonished, but I am ecstatic, dude.
Oh my god.
The True Rippers backing this map. We are going to be heading into, you guessed it, ladies and gentlemen, Icebox. And the last time we saw this map, we were quite surprised by the composition that True Rippers had for us. Now, I'm starting to wonder, will they go for something similar again, or will they go for something more standard? This is the biggest mystery, and quite frankly, I can't wait for the answer.
I highly doubt they're gonna try to pull the similar composition off, right? No way they try to pull the similar composition off. No way, because once it failed quite miserably, and I'm pretty sure they do not want to take the odds on the second time as well. But again, ladies and gentlemen, as we have moved on forward towards the decider, this series is getting way too entertaining, and we're gonna push to a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hit for my wins, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the beach, I get it in.
The all-new i20, born magnetic.
Making dreams come true and memories happier.
I know my destiny. I
forward in the Agent Select. But before, you know what? We need to welcome our homies too from YouTube. Welcome back to the stream, ladies and gentlemen, as we do move on forward to the map of Icebox. But before that, we need to take a look at the Agent Select to find out, are we going to be seeing any sort of new tricks underneath these teams' belt? I mean, so far it seems pretty basic, but Disrupt's gonna go for the Reyna pick. Okay, double duel is being picked out once again, but this time they've got Wimp on that Sentinel role, so there is definitely a bit of change. But on the other hand, we're gonna see some basic stuff from God's Reign, nothing experimentative.
Yeah, it's not that wild, you know. The Reyna is wild enough,
Yeah.
but that's fine. We've seen Reyna on Icebox before. It's nothing. Okay, it is a little out of the ordinary, but it's not the kind of out of the ordinary where it will just make you blow your mind away, right? Meanwhile, for God's Reign, this is quite a standard composition, almost the same composition you see every time from every team on Icebox. So yeah, with Disrupt playing over here and no Sage available on Two Rippers, planting might just get a little difficult for them. The reason you need the Sage and sometimes even the Harbor to plant is because it's so easy to kill that Spike planter, especially when you don't even have a line of sight on him. There's just so many lineups that you can use to just chuck utility at the guy, and that easily results in a kill on whoever's trying to go for the plant. So let's see if True Rippers can make it work.
Ooh,
I mean, if they're hitting shots like this, yeah, if they're hitting shots like this, then they can definitely make things work, right?
Exactly. I mean, that's a shot for you really are, or that you really are searching for inside such a matchup. And Kaizen was able to open things up pretty well. The Sheriff in the hand, of course, is going to deal a lot of damage. So Godstream will need to peek out quite surprisingly, but Wimp, he's able to back it up with 2 of himself, and now we're down to a 2-on-2 scenario. Tix with only Classic in the hand, of course. The jumping accuracy or the moving accuracy on the Classic sometimes is quite good if you're able to connect those right-click bursts onto your opponent's heads well enough. And Tix will be falling back, at least for a while, because the Nano Swarm dealt a lot of damage onto him. And is now also catching a bit too much hurt, and Wimp will put the final bullet onto his dome. I mean, once again, True Ripper starting things off pretty well. So, you brought up a good point, right, Crips? And to only way to deny your Spike plant dying is to get the deep control off the side as well. That means True Rippers will need to overextend and try to get the deep control off the side every single time, especially on the B side. They will need to take the entire side control, and then only they can go for a plant. So that means we're going to be seeing a lot of those overextension moments, but you wouldn't really call it overextension when you've got nothing else to do.
You've got nothing else to do. Actually, that does make quite a lot of sense. Let's see what God's Reign do in order to counter this. And I'm kind of concerned
hold
because,
back and hold the angles.
Yeah, I'm kind of concerned because Disrupt has already invested into the Vandal.
Yeah.
And while he's the only one, it is quite a hefty investment.
But the trades were equal on both the sides, I guess. So now we've got 3 players on each. And as you mentioned, the Vandal should not die, should not fall apart. And luckily enough for True Rippers, they haven't really lost some big guns. They've just lost a Ghost, I guess. I don't exactly know what the rest of the players had, but Kaizen, I'm not sure what he had in his hands.
Yeah. And that too happened because God's Reign decided to peek out of their own Viper's toxin screen. So they basically just told Vibhor, go for it. Ignore your poison, move on. But now God's Reign are all prepared towards the A side. They're ready to stop this hit. A nice shot comes through onto Techno, reduces a bit of his HP, but Disrupt needs to save him somehow. He can't. Hoax also doubles up, this time getting the kill onto Wimp. Disrupt left all alone. My biggest fear is actually coming to fruition. He has to risk his Vandal now in order to recover the Spike. He does it, but there's very little time left, so he's just hoping that somebody from God's Reign will push him so he can turn this into a 1v2 rather than a 1v3, but nobody offers him any fights. They force him to go for the plant, and now as he tries to stick it, he can't do it. Time's run out, and now no matter what happens, True Rippers can't win the round.
And he also lost the Vandal, gave it away. Not a good news for True Rippers.
This has always been a problem for them, isn't it? Because even in the previous round, we saw how after winning Pistol, their momentum was stolen away. They lost the second round.
Yeah. Usually happens. Yeah, you're right. They're losing out on these thrifty rounds. usually. And it happens the same way to the opponents as well. Even they themselves are losing out on the thrifty rounds sometimes. But now, as True Rippers are being forced on an eco, they've managed to force out a Vandal in the hands of Wimp. Interesting decision. I really want to see how this hero Vandal play is going to work out.
I guess the plan here would be to send all of the players inside, have them plant the spike, and then Wimp stays on belt, chucks his nano swarms. Wait, he doesn't have any nano swarms this time, so he's just gonna hope that the Vandal that he has should be enough to kill anyone who's going for the TPs.
The utility utilization is really good from both the sides. It's sort of back and forth. Exchanging utilities, trading those utilities, but now Godsreen are going to start to get their hands on the kills as well. Considering True Rippers, they don't really have the guns advantage. Of course, the bodies will start to drop. They'll start to hit the floor soon enough. Techno with the Vandal in the hand doesn't really have a lot to back them up. Also, the scan will go off from the recon dart and a flawless round from Godsreen. A round they really needed in their hands to keep the momentum alive on the map of Icebox. I mean, so far, the Reyna hasn't really been the difference maker in the first couple of rounds, but again, it's quite early to say anything.
Yeah, I guess that Reyna will really start to pop off when Disrupt tries to go for those mid-aggression plays. Last time we saw True Rippers, as soon as they take control of B yellow, instead of going directly for the plant, sometimes they will push inside oranges as well. So that could be something that Disrupt pulls out in a tricky situation. Even on the A side, you know, these guys have the tendency to pick up these fights towards the left-hand side of 410 as well. Instead of just going directly towards Fridge and planting, they often try to encircle that area and hope that they're able to break the crossfires that way. So True Rippers, they are quite an aggressive team on Icebox. I guess what I'm trying to say over here is that Disrupt will have his moment to let that Reyna shine, to unleash it to its fullest potential. But for now, he just needs to be a little patient. He just needs to make sure that his teammates cover ground first before they let him go wild.
Speak about going wild. I mean, with the sort of composition these guys have, True Rippers, they need to go wild. They don't have any other option. They need to take the entire side control and deny pretty much everything possible from the opponents, and then only they can go for a spike plant. Especially on the B side, they need to do that. A side, maybe they have some sort of cover where they can try to go for the safe plant, but once again, playing off of those safe plant is going to be really tough, especially to play the post plant. So once again, True Rippers, they need to take the entire side control. They need to go wild. They need to go aggressive with this composition.
You asked them of it, and they are already delivering it. Aggression from True Rippers, this time kinda overwhelming, as the Toxin Screen doesn't let anyone from God's range shoot things. And God's Rain are okay with giving up this area. They want to let True Rippers go for the plant, but they're not actually committing the plant yet. Now, as I say it, Techno starts to dig it, but nah, I guess what they were trying to do is just bait out somebody's peek from God's Rain, and they've got it. True Rippers are handed that peek, they get the advantage, and now they can safely fall back. But they're not doing that either. They're just playing from the site itself. They're only gonna let RU climb up belt and defend from there.
Pretty much, I guess. Even RU wouldn't really have a lot of visual on the spike plan that's been shown so far. I guess he does, I'm not sure. It's tough to tell, but yeah, he does. So from the belt, maybe he does a little bit of visual, but once again, it's going to be really tough. But yeah, because the operator in the play, it's going to be really tough to try and defend anything. So that's a huge problem with this composition in general, right? So you need to go for the side control. You need to play aggressive. Yeah, you could have tried to fall back and try to play for the post plant, but once again, you've got the duelists. And the duelists are always going to be hot-blooded, which will try to take the duels against you to your faces. And so they were just staying on the site while there was a man in the back. But once again, he was not able to provide the cover fire, given the plant was not exactly on the side where he could give a lot of cover fire to his teammates.
Yeah, but also the decision for True Rippers to continue staying on site and fighting over there rather than falling back to its belt. I guess they thought they were comfortable doing so because they had the man advantage already. So regardless of whether they fall back or not, they should have been able to play with each other and neutralize whatever God's Rain threw at them. But now they are relegated down to their eco weapons, a bunch of sheriffs and blades. That's all that they can afford, but Kaizen will deliver regardless of the weaponry he has. And this pushes God's Rain back.
Yeah, he always delivers with the Blade Storm all the time inside those eco rounds. But unfortunately, Kaizen this time is taken down way too low. The lockdown will be invested as well, considering the opponents are just on an eco. Still, they're able to force out a lockdown. This is a huge dub in the books of True Rippers. Especially in the buy rounds, they won't have to worry about any sort of lockdowns anymore.
And the shock dart breaks the nanoswarms, which means Wimp can't activate them if he has any. The snakebite lineups will still be working though. But God's Reign aren't even able to half it. They have to go for these fights. And yeah, there you have it. They went in for the fights. And this should be another round in the bag for God's Reign.
A huge disadvantage not having a Sage in your lineup is that you need to always go for these type of plants where you will also need to have visual all the way from the backlines if you do want to play a safe post plant. But at the same time, you're not going to be able to pretty much have a lot of area control if you're going to try to play the post plant just off of belts. For example, you just have a little amount of visual on the side from belts if you take a look at it over there. They don't really have a lot of visual, so that's why they're not able to provide any sort of cover fire to the players who are playing on the site. And this is a huge problem. If you do want to go for a complete exposed plant, once again, you're exposing yourself to a lot of danger in general. So if True Rippers do want to keep on executing the A side, they will have to go for that plant. And once again, Autumn's operator is going to be a huge threat.
It always is a threat. The only person who could have probably dealt with it is Kaizen. This time, True Rippers hitting the B side. I guess for the first time in this game so far. I haven't seen them do this before.
Careful.
Let's see how God's Reign are equipped to deal with this. The rotations have already come through. God's Reign have left the A side completely, so now they're sure that this is indeed a full commitment from True Rippers, and unless they fall back, they won't change their opinion on it. Toxin Screen back down, so True Rippers are going to wait for it to recharge. They're going to wait for Ryu's poison to come back, and once he has enough, they're going to try to go in for that plant.
As I said, with the sort of composition they have, they will need to try and go aggressive, and this is exactly what they're doing. True Rippers, they go in quite deep in the site, but this time they're able to find a lot of success. There is Tix in the back line, so we'll be able to shut down Kaizen, but that's all he's going to find. Hunter's Fury utilized too to try and delay the spike plant for as long as possible, but they will need to keep on going really deep. True Rippers, the composition does not allow them to just sit down and plant. They will need to get rid of the entire control, at least so far, the enemies are having. And God's Reign, you can see there is still the Kojo available towards the mids area, which will be cleared out now. And now finally True Rippers can go for the plant because they know the entire area is cleared out.
Oh, but it comes at such a risky cost. Wimp tries to deploy his nanoswarms, but gets sniped off in the process. Ryu's flank works wonders, and now it's all up to Techno. But Sai denies them all hope. And they did so much to counter Sai specifically in this round. The moment he used his Hunter's Fury, that was clear indication. As soon as that Hunter's Fury was utilized, Wimp used the lockdown, and he was hoping that it would buy some space for his team because, like you mentioned, there's nothing to help True Rippers plant that spike outright. They need something to help them gather space, which is exactly why they dived in beyond that toxin screen, which is why they dived in deeper towards B. And sure, they were hoping to get a couple of kills on the back of it, but when that did not work, the lockdown was just a desperation play.
Pretty much. And this is a huge problem. For so far, it's looking like a comp diff. Like, I'm straight up gonna say it. Sage is just so useful on this map. It allows you to plant in the ways where you can just completely abuse those plants and play off of the post plant so well. So Sage is sort of important on the attacking side. You really do need that Sage in your hands. On the defensive half, though, you can definitely play off of this comp pretty well. But on attack, you will need to take that extra risk, and that's what the players of True Rippers are trying to do so far. And in the process, they lose out on the controller. But Kaizen himself is able to find 2 big kills. Autumn is only taken down to 66 HP. Of course, soften up a little bit too much, but Disrupt's being shut down. And now, it's all down to Techno and Wimp, an Initiator and a Sentinel with a huge scream to clutch out the entire round. Seems next to impossible, and Side Dreams makes it look way too easy.
There's 2 players who aren't really having the best game. Vibhor so far doesn't have any frags, and Disrupt only has 1. Now, the problem over here is Vibhor doesn't have any obligation to clear out space for his team. He just needs to delay the TRS attack as a Viper. He will just probably use his Viper screen as soon as it's activated, and this will make True Rippers hesitate a little. He will probably even use the snake bites to keep them away. So Vibor, despite not having enough kills, is still doing his job. But Disrupt, on the other hand, he's supposed to move inside quite deep and protect the planter. And because Disrupt's not able to get a lot of kills, this Reyna isn't really getting much done.
It's just like a straight up comp diff. Even the plants they're getting, I literally mentioned every single way why this plant they're getting, they're not able to successfully execute the post plant or play that well on the post plant. They either need a Harper or a Sage in the roster to get those plants down well enough on the spots where they can easily defend it in the back lines before now. Quite a scrappy start to this round, and we're down to a 3-on-3. Of course, trades did happen back and forth, and now Side Dreams as well is able to find some information with their drone. Techno will go for quite a safe plant. That means it cannot be played off a post plant. They will need to play it off a site. Once again, Techno utilizing as much of his kit possible. The Operator's, of course, going to be a huge threat in their hearts. But they're trying their best to try and make something happen out of nothing. Wimp being spotted with Disrupt 9 right next to him. They've also got a decent amount of weaponry to try and back up the firepower, and Wimp finds the opening. Definitely a huge sigh of relief with that one. This time he might just catch him off guard, but no, it's going to be the answer. Disrupt turns around in the nick of time and shuts down the man in the close. Autumn with only 1 HP to left it out of clutch.
And there you have it, man. True Rippers, how on earth did they pull this one off? What a way to win the round. And they keep it clean, they keep it simple. The A-side assault, they do it in parts. They start approaching the site, and then they take a pause. They wait for this toxin screen to get down. As soon as the first person dives inside, everybody else moves too. They get the plant quickly enough before Godswing can move inside, and then they all just decide to play near 410 for the post plant instead of going all the way back to its belt. True Rippers, they take things slowly and methodically. They break down the site into multiple parts and then take them one by one.
Autumn's Operator not able to find those connections. I mean, those are quite tough shot to hit, but still, I mean, you need to find some sort of success. If you're not able to get the early man advantage to your team with the Operator, then it's definitely going to be quite tough to make use of it in the later rounds. Tix is able to find one. The Operator once again not able to find any sort of valuable openings. And now True Rippers, they're just able to flow in the site quite easily. The resistance was there from the opponents, but this time the resistance just being countered by pure firepower.
And sometimes that's all that True Rippers have. Their raw firepower helps them get these rounds in the most dire circumstances. I mean, take a look at their strat. It wasn't anything to write home about, right? True Rippers going for a simple A hit. It's not like it's a big brain flank move or it's like a 200 IQ strat they use. No, nothing of that sort. It's quite standard. But still, the amount of firepower that they possess is just helping them barge inside and claim the site for themselves without any resistance from God's Reign. In fact, one might even say that God's Reign crossfires towards the A side are kind of falling short of the mark. Which is exactly why True Rippers have found so much success over here trying to hit the site again and again. And you already know True Rippers are stubborn. If they get a couple of rounds like this, they will continue hitting the A site again and again and again until it doesn't work.
Something written on the screen. Kaizen, sheesh. Okay. Makes sense. Kaizen's having the game of his life, or the series of his life, if you'd like to call it. Once again, because of Kaizen's heroic play, they were able to secure this round in the hand. Kaizen was able to find 3, and then Disrupt all by himself was able to find that 1 kill. So 4 kills were initially just found by the duelists, and that's why God's Reign pretty much just got deactivated right then and there. As I said, pure firepower working out this time in the favor of True Rippers, and they're also able to spot out the Viper. So that's quite huge. They're just going to straight up push to its face. That was a huge attack with the recon dart, or with the recon drone. And now God's Reign, they're going to respect this privacy that True Rippers have built so far on the site, and they're going to start to fall back.
Exactly what I said, man. This just reinforces the stubbornness point even further. They see a Viper's Pit, and they still move through it regardless. And now even the True Rippers have a Viper's Pit of their own. The lockdown might just force them outside. But Aryu, he's going to get detained on purpose, hoping to keep this Viper's Pit up. At this point, it's going to be up to Kaizen to somehow protect this man, keep him alive. And Kaizen trades out his fallen Viper. But can they stop the defuse? The nanoswarms are popped. Kaizen dead. It's up to Wimp now to make this work. Resurrection committed. Wimp is gonna have to make those nano swarms count, man. And the time is running out. He doesn't have a line of sight. Oh, wait, maybe he does. From this spot, he does. But he doesn't kill the diffuser, and Tix is sticking it.
That was quite a good plant, but once again, the only way they were able to get that plant to play the post plant was when they just cleared the entire site and God's Rain fell back. So expecting those type of plants all the time is going to be next to impossible. And God's Rain will keep on abusing that fact, I'm pretty sure, even in future rounds. But this overall execution from True Rippers was just so perfect. They were able to force out the opponent Viper with the recon drone, and then moving forward with pure aggression and firepower and get the site control in their hands. As we do move on forward to another round, 7-3 is the scoreline, in which True Rippers, of course, do have a decent amount of weapons available. Kaizen's going to decide to play on the Blade Storm. On the other hand, the opponents are looking quite comfortable. Side Dreams do have a entire Hunter's Fury, but once again, he's probably going to try to use that to deny the plant.
Oh, this time the resistance from God's Rain to Vijay actually works out for them. Sai uses the Hunter's Fury only as a precautionary measure, but this forces True Rippers to go back to its B. Maybe even explore Tube. This is the first time True Rippers will be going down this region.
Turret. There's a turret available, so that means even if they are trying to bring any sort of surprise play through the Tube, the turret will be giving it away. That's what Wimp realizes too, but still is able to catch the players off guard. Perfectly played from Wimp. Patience game working out in their favor, and now True Rippers having the entire side control as well in their hands. They need to play aggressive, and that's what they're exactly doing.
2v3. Time's ticking.
Last player standing.
Smell the hay around their hips. He knows what the play is. Also knows exactly where Techno is, so that's why he's trying to pre-fire around every corner, and he succeeds. Wimp versus Sai. These two players have been friends for a long time, but now against each other, the tension is nigh undeniable. Nanoswarm activated, pushing Sai towards yellow instead, but that's not where Wimp resides. Wimp is playing this really well, and Sai is running out of time. He has to give up on this.
Wimp clutches it out for his team, perfectly done, but Sai too, you gotta give it to him. It was 1-on-3 scenario. He was able to kill two players all by himself, and then in the end almost make it way too close for comfort. But True Rippers, they're barely able to squeeze in these type of rounds, which God's Rain cannot afford to keep on giving over and over again.
Yeah, God's Rain. They did a decent job of pushing True Rippers away from the A side, and I felt like that's such a good thing, right? Because up until now, whenever True Rippers hit the A side, it seemed like they were just overwhelming them with firepower. And finally, God's Rain made that defense work, but only to falter on B, which was supposed to be their stronger side.
Ooh, what?
You should run.
What was that shot from Kaizen? You were barely able to see that man too. Even Tix himself is wondering what the hell just happened with me. I didn't even know what just happened with me, but yeah, something did, and I just died. And now Autumn is down to his last knife as well. True Rippers once again get the site control easily in their hands. In case and this man is just on hunts.
Oh, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This is exactly what you had been waiting for up until now. True Rippers finally able to get to a point where they can have a decent half. Oaks, though, wants to deny all of this. He's trying to find a better gun, but there's nothing on the ground. Autumn only has Spectres to work with. And he's trying to find where the rest of them are. This time, True Rippers are playing all the way from the back lines, which isn't something they've done before. And that's exactly why Autumn and Hoax were so confused, because they were trying to look for all the True Rippers members near 410, near Fridge, near the Radianite boxes, because that's exactly what True Rippers were doing. In the first few rounds of their A hits, they just all decided to stay on the side rather than fall back to its belt, which is exactly why they fell back to its belt. This time, God's Rain never saw it coming.
Okay, to be honest, I'm a little worried for God's Rain now, considering now we're going to be heading on towards the switch. And as I said, this composition is going to be way better on the defending side, considering you're going to be expecting a lot of resistance whenever the side control is going to be trying to be taken away from True Rippers. So there's a high chance True Rippers might be a little bit more dominant on the defending side, but only time will tell if that's going to be the case or not. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to push to a short commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hit for my wins, I need my head. This life is real, can't play pretend. came off the beach. I get it in.
The all-new i20, born magnetic.
Came for my wins, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the beach, I get it in.
With the sort of composition these guys have, it really allows them to have a little bit more resistance on the defending side. And considering attacking side was, of course, a little tougher because they didn't have the save. So one thing is for sure, that on the defending side, True Rippers will try to play a little aggressive with this composition. And exactly what we're seeing from the A side, they've already pushed up.
Yeah, that isn't a little aggressive. That's really aggressive. And they don't just stop there. They plant the spike very deep into the site, and they take snowman control. So even God's Rain fights fire with fire. They fight aggression with aggression. They know that True Rippers are coming in from yellow, so they don't want to play there at all. In fact, they take their spawn instead. The script has been changed, the tides have been turned, and Hoax is burning Techno alive. They're losing so much HP, it's just chipping away at them. And the Cloud Bursts don't seem to help Kaizen at all. Wimp with 1 HP and a dream will live in a world of nightmares as God's Rain take round 1.
Oh boy, that's a good reply from God's Rain, to be honest. Just pushing it forward, pushing a little bit too much, going all the way towards Snowman, taking the entire control of the entire left side of the map. So they pretty much had visual over half of the map. And they were able to just shut down the entire True Rippers side. So with this composition True Rippers have, I think so Disrupt and Kaizen will try to play with each other for a really long time, especially inside retakes. These guys will try to play off of each other 100%.
One down.
Oh my god. Dude, get out of here. What on earth is that?
Crosshair placement, baby.
I was almost expecting another one. And he's still so keen on fighting, you know.
Spike planted.
Indeed is. The spike goes down too. And Kaizen, with his teammates, is going to start to move in. With the Sheriff in the hand, of course. They do have the guns disadvantage, so it's going to be a little tough to convert this round in their hands, especially Rapport with the sort of a Spectre spray is just going to try to kill everyone possible. And Tix with a pop-in swing.
Spectacular Spectre sprays. Try saying that fast 3 times. It's almost like a tongue twister.
Spectacular Spectre plays, spectacular Spectre plays, spectacular Spectre plays. I said it.
Sprays, not plays.
Oh. Spectacular Spectre
him.
sprays, spectacular Spectre sprays, spectacular Spectre sprays.
Okay, cool. Cool. Let's not do that again. I said it as a fun challenge. I didn't know you would actually take me up on it. Well, that was still quite impressive.
Revealing area.
Okay, this time though, quite a lot of aggression from Autumn, but he's being pinched from both Boiler as well as Kitchen. Yeah, that would have been the smarter choice to fall back. He's shown his presence, and now that's going to force 2 of the TRS members to stay towards mid at all times. And in order to reinforce mid, they've given up on the A side completely. They're only having RU play over there, and he's just watching the crossing from 410. They almost called Disrupt to assist on mid, but yeah, now they realize that God's Rain are going to fall back and take their sweet time. But still, God's Rain need to do the same thing which they were doing in Haven, you know. They need to boil out the utility of the defenders. Otherwise, they'll fall into the same trap that True Rippers did.
Speak of that, and
Spike planted.
True Rippers, they've gotten rid of the wall. I mean, once again, they're so far respecting the entire side take that's came through God's Rain. But as I said, they will try to play off of each other. It's going to be a quick burst on the side from True Rippers. They're just waiting for the right moment to strike. And as soon as they find that sweet moment, it's going to be a quick burst. And here it becomes. Everyone just flowing on the site and closes side dreams. Of course, he's pulling off some nutty plays. Almost got the 3rd man down as well. Side dreams all by himself. Was adamant to keep his team stream alive. And now it's all down to Disrupt and Aryu.
They don't have enough time. Disrupt doesn't even get out alive with his gun in his hand. So True Rippers are gonna face a massive economic setback. God's Reign pull off a near thrifty, and they don't even get too much loss from it. I mean, yeah, they don't get to recover the weapons that they, made their opponents drop on the ground, but this is still pretty impressive. With just some Sheriffs and Spectres, they beat down Phantoms and Vandals, and this is the one opportunity they had. This is the one opportunity that True Rippers had in order to start making their way into this half, but Sai playing that one and done position. It's called one and done for a reason. You're not supposed to get more than one frag in that position, but he got 2.
Yeah, and all props to Sai to pulling off that round, honestly. Those 2 kills were incredible. Shutting off those 2 of the most deadly players on the site. And pretty much helping his team secure that entire round as well. I don't know if you saw the last kill, but it was Autumn and a classic against the Vandal. And he killed the guy with only a classic. It was impressive. But Kaizen once again is able to find these type of openings with the Sheriffs, and all the time just delivering for his team. He's at least able to find the opening, but unfortunately Wimp is not able to follow it back up.
Now the Reyna starts to really show what she's made of. The Disrupt can't capitalize, and Hoax plays well off of Vibor's positioning. So God's Reign avoid the crisis. They knew for a fact that True Rippers on their eco would really try to go for the aggression, and God's Reign fielded it well.
Oh, banter to banter back. Trash talk to a trash talk back. So True Rippers basically said, when they were showing that text, they said, Kal Ana. And now they said, Kal bhi hamara, aaj bhi hamara. Interesting. So they're trash talk to trash talk back, replying back. Nice. We love these type of banters. Keep it going, guys.
It usually happens on Twitter, not via the watch party screen for the stream. But hey, why would you want to have your audience open up another app on their phone in order to enjoy the banter while they can do it right here on the comfort of their screens?
A tactical timeout from True Rippers because they realize the opponents are now starting to run away with a lead. And as expected, True Rippers are of course playing with heat amped up. They're playing with aggression amped up. And this is what God's Reign are realizing. And they're really letting True Rippers have that space, but then later on, they're just deleting them out the game.
True Rippers really need to start something here. They haven't gotten a single round in the second half so far. And as difficult as it is to digest, one might have believed that the True Rippers composition would have been better on defense, because they can really take map control aggressively and deny God's Reign early control. Kaizen now pushing the envelope. The Jet jumps right over it, and Kaizen dashes back. He goes for the repeat. The cojones on this man to pull off moves like this, and in case Kaizen dies, the Reyna is also available over there. So True Rippers really taking matters into their own hands now. They don't want to let God's Reign rest for even a moment.
Goes for the repeat with that. That's where I am even more surprised. The balls of steel on this man, and then Disrupt does the similar thing once again, disrespecting the entire God's Reign team. They realize that God's Reign are usually just waiting for this aggression. So this time, they reply back with aggression from a different side. They push in through the mid. And as I said, Kaizen and Disrupt will try to play off of each other, and that's what they exactly do. Bro, I'm reading these guys like a book.
Well, I mean, it's kind of easy to do so when you've got access to the mini-map, right?
Yeah, but I literally predicted that before the game even started. Or before the second half even started.
Great. And I'm glad that you were able to do so, because now we can see how aggressively True Rippers are trying to make their moves and the adjustments too. In the first few rounds, they tried aggressing out of A main. This time, they all just punch out of mid, and they deliver a knockout blow. Once again, system change for True Rippers. Aggression point this time has been a belt. Kaizen already climbing up there with his AWP, peering deep down into the attacking spawn, doesn't spot anybody. It's gonna be up to Disrupt to somehow get a kill, dismiss back to safety, and the distance is a little too much. Otherwise, if he can just dismiss back and join his teammate Wimp again, that would be perfect, because Wimp can cover him. This toxin screen is also the kind of one where Wimp can easily peek out from his position. It covers the top, it doesn't cover Wimp's position, but Disrupt, he dies to Autumn. And Report gets the better of Wimp. This is incredible. Aryu tries to make a desperate move. He tries to kill the planter, but no luck.
There was a little gap on the wall. If Aryu was able to abuse that in time, could have been, of course, better. But unfortunately, when he found out that there's a gap in the wall, time was already gone and Spike was already planted. So next to impossible to abuse that gap. Now Kazin once again is trying to pull off some heroic plays, but unfortunately he's met with a lot of bullets and he will also die to his own teammate shock dart. Unfortunate stuff for True Rippers. Things not working out, and these type of moments are really just working against them. But oh, that got way too close for comfort. Techno redeems himself with that sort of a play. But in the end, they had a man lurking around.
Yeah, Hoax came in from Orange's with an insurance policy. But I can just imagine what would have happened if he wasn't there. Techno definitely made a little mistake by shock darting Kaizen. How did that even happen? I think he was just trying to launch it all the way back there behind yellow, but then he got peaked, so he kind of panicked, and maybe that's when he just forgot to charge it up all the way or something. I don't know. I can only speculate about what went wrong, but he definitely redeemed himself.
Grounded.
Oh my god. Look at Autumn, man. He's a cold-blooded murderer.
Speaking about cold-blooded murderer. And we've already got these players posted up quite deep once again. True Rippers just taking the fire against them. Wimp and Disrupt playing off of each other. Kazin and Aryu were lost, but it's completely fine as long as they're able to get the man number neutralized. That's all that's going to matter, and as I say that, that's what exactly is done. Hunter's Fury used to try and delay the post plant, or try and delay the plant for as long as possible. Tix will go for the res on the side dreams, and that's a huge res now. Sai being given another lifeline, I'm pretty sure is going to try to make it worth it. And the recon dart as well is going to give the positions away.
I just hope the owl drone doesn't tag anybody, otherwise it's a confirmed death. Oh, it almost acted before. This could have been certain death, but the wall is standing in their way. Sidedreams protecting his teammates really well. Wimp and Techno have to find a way inside, but they can't trade each other out, and it's all down to Wimp. The weight of the world on his shoulders, and his breath is being choked away inside this pit. Finally put to his rest by Sai.
Good reads and a huge comp diff. Honestly, that's a huge comp diff. But, I mean, once again, they try to make a lot of happen with that composition. It is definitely a comp that you can try to make work if, once again, if you're able to find value with those aggressive plays properly. But you also got to make sure that you're not giving away your own lives while you're trying to play those aggressive plays off. You need to make those duo pairs push together and also find those trade together as well. If you're losing out on your one player, you need to make sure that the opponent as well is losing out on that player. But once again, a great matchup, ladies and gentlemen. Both these teams gave it all they had, but in the end, God's Green were the one who reigned through supreme on this entire best-of-3 series, but still a close series, whatever.
Yeah, this was quite a close series, and I'm glad that even after True Ripper's loss on Icebox last time, they still had what it takes to make a bold pick of Reyna, make that risk. They took it. It didn't pay off as well as they were hoping for it, but I guess the point over here that matters more is that they are still willing to experiment, which is exactly what will get them ahead in the long run.
Exactly, and I want to see these type of experimentative plays even in the future too. Do not stop experimenting. Keep on bringing these new type of lineups over and over again. We want to see you guys switch up some more stuff and also catch or bring a little bit more surprise element inside the game and make the games more entertaining, True Rippers. But again, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to push to a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Can't for my wings, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the beach, I get it in.
The all-new i20, born magnetic.
Making dreams come true and memories happier.
Work on being better when I'm 70. Your drip is just a water spring. You know I drip different, this the 7 C's. I deal with life different, make that limit squeeze. Went off for my style and identity. Better bounce back and get the cheddar cheese. I guess that's why they envy me. On track, now we gon' way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Way up, pray up. On track, now we gon' way up. Now we gon' way up. Now we going. On track, now we gon' way up. Now we gon' way up. Now we going. I got his band like I'm Barry Bonds. Running through the money, but the money's long. I don't love it, but I need it, keep it coming on. Only friendly, me and friends, we don't get along. I put that on my name, that I put them on. I put myself on stage and they sing along. I might book a session, do 100 songs. I'ma let you hear them just to prove you wrong. On track, now we gon' way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. On track, now we gon' way up. Now we gon' way up. Now we going. On track, now we gon' way up. Now we gon' way up. Now we going. On track, now we gon' way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. On track, now we gon' way up. Now we gon' way up. Now we going. On track, now we gon' way up. Now we gon' way up. Now we going. Keep the same energy. Work on being better when I'm 70. Your drip is just a water spring. You know I drip different, this the 7 C's. I deal with life different, make that limit squeeze. Went off for my style and identity. Better bounce back and get the cheddar cheese. I guess that's why they envy me. On track, now we gon' way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. On track, now we gon' way up. Now we gon' way up. Now we going. On track, now we gon' way up. Now we gon' way up. Now we going. I got his band like I'm Barry Bonds. Running through the money, but the money's long. I don't love it, but I need it, keep it coming on. Only friendly, me and friends, we don't get along. I put that on my name, that I put them on. I put myself on stage and they sing along. I might book a session, do 100 songs. I'ma let you hear them just to prove you wrong. On track, now we gon' way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. On track, now we gon' way up. Now we gon' way up. Now we going. On track, now we gon' way up. Now we gon' way up. Now we going. On track, now we gon' way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. On track, now we gon' way up. Now we gon' way up. Now we going. On track, now we gon' way up. Now we gon' way up. Now we going. Keep the same energy. Work on being better when I'm 70. Your drip is just a water spring. You know I drip different, this the 7 C's. I deal with life different, make that limit squeeze. Went off for my style and identity. Better bounce back and get the cheddar cheese. I guess that's why they envy me. On track, now we gon' way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings. got his band like I'm Barry Bonds. Running through the money, but the money's long. I don't love it, but I need it, keep it coming on. Only friendly, me and friends, we don't get along. I put that on my name, that I put them on. I put myself on stage as they sing along. I might book a session, do 100 songs. I'ma let you hear them just to prove you wrong. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Pray up. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Pray up. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. Keep the same energy. Work on being better when I'm 70. Your drip is just a water spring. You know I drip different, this the 7 C's. I deal with life different, make that lemon squeeze. Went off for my style and identity. Better bounce back and get the cheddar cheese. I guess that's why they envy me. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Pray up. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. I got his band like I'm Barry Bonds. Running through the money, but the money's long. I don't love it, but I need it, keep it coming on. Only friendly, me and friends, we don't get along. I put that on my name, that I put them on. I put myself on stage as they sing along. I might book a session, do 100 songs. I'ma let you hear them just to prove you wrong. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Pray up. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Pray up. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. Keep the same energy. Work on being better when I'm 70. Your drip is just a water spring. You know I drip different, this the 7 C's. I deal with life different, make that lemon squeeze. Went off for my style and identity. Better bounce back and get the cheddar cheese. I guess that's why they envy me. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Pray up. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. I got his band like I'm Barry Bonds. Running through the money, but the money's long. I don't love it, but I need it, keep it coming on. Only friendly, me and friends, we don't get along. I put that on my name, that I put them on. I put myself on stage as they sing along. I might book a session, do 100 songs.